Welcome to Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11.
Welcome into Home Track Heroes here on CW11. I am Kyler Hope, joined in the booth by the number 12 Pro Late Model driver, Chad Fitzpatrick, as we have a full night of action here on Coastal Community Bank Night presented by Garage Force. And Chad, track conditions are not looking that great out there tonight.
Definitely not. You know, it's kind of dry, kind of wet. Those are absolutely the worst track conditions to race in.
Yeah, and we got a lot of big power cars here, and then we also have our legends that are probably the toughest cars to drive, all in wet conditions, so it's just definitely going to be an action-packed night.
Definitely. Seeing the track conditions tonight makes me happy I'm up here and not down there.
Yeah, because you've driven almost every single one of the cars we're going to see tonight, so I'm going to be leaning on you a lot for that reference because it's going to be tricky. It's going to be hard with the big V8s. We got the super stock figure 8s and the street stocks both in action, so those are going to be fun classes to watch.
Yep, we get to see who gets to survive and who doesn't.
Exactly, yeah. So we're going to start action here tonight with the Youth Hornets on our 1/5 mile oval. And these kids, I mean, it's been awesome to watch these guys all year long, and it's just such a growing class. It's so much fun to watch.
Oh, I definitely love to watch these kids. It's great to see the progression from the beginning of the year to now, seeing how they're growing as a driver.
Yeah, so let's look at this starting lineup on the front row. We got the 51 of Kay and Spear, sponsored by Mrs. Turner's Hometown Cafe, and her outside the 25 of Caden Evans.
The 65 of Bryson Winfield, sponsored by his papa Tony Hill. The 11 of Keegan Mooney, sponsored by Crossroads Towing.
Row number 3, we have on the inside the 8 of Jacob Funk. Is outside the 12 of Sage Frazier, sponsored by Party Chief Safety Apparel.
The 01 of Tanner Bjornson, sponsored by Misfit Motorsports. And the 32, Sawyer Holden, sponsored by LB Motorsports.
Then we got the 31 of Lila Mashburn, sponsored by Olympia Pizza. Her outside the 95 of Evan Delfell, sponsored by Mazda of Everett.
The 78 of Andrew Zachary, sponsored by All About Auto Wrecking. And the 44, Olivia Reppin, sponsored by Snoqualmie Casino.
And rounding out the field, we got the 18 of Paisley Bender, sponsored by PRCBD, as the green flag is out. And you can already tell that this is going to be a tricky track condition. So we already got a few going around, including your race leader, the 51 of Kay and Spear. And we also have another car in the tires. It looks like possibly the 32 of Sawyer Holden.
Yeah, looks like they just couldn't get by. Got loose and got a little help there. And yep, that's exactly. That poor tire.
Yeah, tire came out of nowhere. So in Sawyer's defense, but yeah, we'll see another review from Olivia Reppin. Just kind of cars going over. She does a great job of getting on the binders, not getting into the car to her inside, and gets through the track perfectly. So I mean, textbook right there, getting through the accident, taking your time on these restarts because a lot of these young drivers are still learning and they don't know. Hey, first restart. Let's try to be a little bit patient. You know.
Oh, most definitely. Especially it's just started raining. For the Youth Hornets, it was dry all day, so this is the first time they've been on the track with these conditions.
So that makes it even better for them and extra slippery. So we'll try to get another restart here. Now we got the 65 of Bryson Wingfield leading them to green. And to the 25 of Kate Evans, that car looks like it's had some modifications done. It looks like it's got a new windscreen on there. It looks like it might have been a dirt car before.
That's what I'm kind of guessing. I wonder if it was that or maybe at Skagit or Elma the last couple years. As looks like we're back to green, and looks like we got the 65 of Wingfield into the lead.
Yeah, a little bit cleaner start. So far, I spoke too soon. It was the 01 of Bjornsson. Made a little bit of contact, but hey, we kept it straight going on the back straightaway, and now let's try 3 wide going on turn number 3.
They made it. We got 1 lap in. We only have 29 laps to go as Wingfield still in the lead. The 25 hanging tough of Caden Evans in the second place spot.
Yeah, and that's one thing different this year is we're not doing 20 or 25 lap main events for these guys. We're giving them 30 laps for the Youth Hornets to really get out there and really cut their teeth on these longer races. So it's been fun to watch these guys, and they've been able to have some pretty clean races. I know today's going to be challenging, though, with the wet conditions that they're not really used to.
Yeah, there's been a lot of their races that they go green to checkered, and obviously we haven't started. That will not be the case today. But yeah, the extra 10 laps could be really good for a driver and really bad for a driver as well.
And especially with the big invert we do on these guys, like Paisley Bender, she's been on fire this year. She started dead last, and this is a big field for her to drive through, so having those extra laps for her gives her that extra time to try to work her way forward, not to necessarily press the issue. There she comes right into the screen there as we got the 51 around again of Spear. We'll give her a second to see if she can get back going, but right now we're staying green.
Yeah, we're green thus far. We got Sawyer Holden coming in quick for the lead, and we're yellow.
Yep, so I'm guessing that would be for the 51 of Spear, who spun it out in turn number 1 again. She could have got some help. She could have gone by herself. It's very difficult, especially getting into turn number 1 here at Evergreen Speedway, whether it's the 1/5 or the 3/8. It flattens out a ton, and you know better than most because you've done a lot of laps here how difficult it can be getting into turn number 1.
It definitely is, and looks like we'll see what happened here. Looks like Yep, just lost it. You know what? That happens.
Yeah, and it's a learning class, so it's okay to make mistakes like this, and it's definitely like it bugs the drivers because they're all competitive, but this is where we want them making the mistakes. We don't want kids in late models or street stocks out there making mistakes. We want them in these 4-cylinders, youth Hornets, racing against people with the same experience and learning the cars.
You got to learn somewhere.
Exactly, yep. And this class wasn't around. It's still a fairly new class. It wasn't around when you were learning, so you were kind of thrown to the wolves a little bit more than these guys were.
I got thrown in with the adults in 40-car main events every night. Yeah, it was fun, though.
So here we go, going back to green. 3 laps complete, 27 to go, as it looks like it's going to be Wingfield taking us to green flag. And there goes Bjornsson. We saw him getting a little bit squirrely on that initial green flag, and he's up there trying to get around Sawyer Holden for the race lead, or for second place, and trying to make it work. Not quite enough drive off of turn number 2 yet, as he's going to look to the inside. We got a great 3-car takeaway here.
Yeah, definitely a great battle up front. And look at Paisley Bender. Started 13th. Normally we have a B main for these kids, but we just started them all. So definitely making her way through the field, as when those 3 cars are going to battle for the lead, that will slow them down. It looks like we got a battle right now, as it looks like Bjornsson going to look to the inside. I believe, I can't quote me on this, I don't know if he's won an A main or not this year, but he's been very close.
Yeah, he's been really strong, and we're getting the nod saying that he's won 1, so he's looking to go for his 2nd win on the year, as he's taking the lead early. He's just looking to try to check out now, and that's one thing for these young drivers it's really hard to do, is to, hey, I'm in the lead now, don't overdrive these corners. They don't have anything to reference anymore. They don't have a lead car in front of them to know when to brake, so it makes it a little bit harder for them, and not know when to brake right there. The 25 goes off track. That's Caden Evans. We talked about that maybe being a dirt car at one point, so they just wanted to return back to its roots.
Yep, it saw the dirt and it had to go there. But we stay green thus far. He's out of the way. As I don't know if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but it looks like the 32 of Sawyer Holden's car is dog tracking down the straightaway.
It does kind of look like that. A little bit of camber in the rear end there, just pushing the rear end a little bit out, just trying to get that extra little bit downforce, playing aero games with these youth Hornets.
Well, if you notice, look how loose he is compared to everyone else. Front-wheel drive cars tend to be on the tight side, so that's definitely working out for him. As here comes Bender looking into the top 2 now, as Bjornsson with about a 10-car length lead over Holden.
Yeah, and that's what you want to do when you know you have strong cars behind you. I mean, obviously he's won the main event this year, so he has a strong car. He's a very strong driver. But you just want to get that track position. You want to get out ahead and lead and not look back. And that's what he's doing right now, putting Caden Evans down a lap right there. And here comes Paisley Bender looking for 2nd on the inside of Sawyer Holden, going into turn number 1.
Yeah, trying to get underneath. Low contact. Goes up the track, no harm, no foul, and she goes into the 2nd place position, trying to get around the 25 of Caden Evans. Seems to be no issue there. Oh, I think he's going for the dirt again.
Yeah, and that's the problem with these front-wheel drive cars, is you get on the brakes a little bit too much and the tires lock up. There's no saving that car. It's just going to hydroplane and go straight off. And sometimes when your car's not set up right or you're not used to a car, it's really, really easy to do that.
Well, my first Hornet race was in the rain, and I did the exact same thing Evans has done. And I did it twice, too, on the 3/8 going into 3. So I know the exact feeling that driver's going through.
Yep, so now 11 laps complete. Here he comes joining back on the field. He's taking a little detour, it's a joker lap for Hornets.
Yeah.
So we're back up top with your race leader, Tanner Bjornsson, in the 01, having such a solid race. That windshield wiper doing work, and he's going down 12 laps down, 18 to go here.
So the track itself is wet, but it is actually not soaking wet. You can't notice there's no fishtails coming off the car. So this is some of the worst conditions driving as we got Reppin going around. Staying green.
Couldn't tell if there was a little bit of contact there or not.
I think there might have been a little help.
And she definitely hit the tire, so that's going to bring out another yellow flag here for the youth Hornets, which is what Tanner Bjornsson did not want to see, because he had such a great lead going and was running such a solid race. Now he's going to have Paisley Bender, who's been so strong this year, right on his back bumper with Sawyer Holden as well. I think we're going to take another look at a replay right here and what happened.
Looks like, from that point of view, it looks like just got a little loose.
Yeah, got loose on entry, and maybe whoever was behind just wasn't expecting the checkup and just got a little bit of contact there.
Yep.
No harm, no foul, really. But with that view, you could really see how much the rain is coming down with how much water was on our lens there.
Yeah, definitely. As you could tell from the beginning of the race, it was almost somewhat dry, and it keeps getting wetter and wetter. It looks like I just noticed in the youth Hornets they do single file, so that actually, I think, could help Bjornsson, because Bender will not be on the outside of him.
Yeah, exactly. There's no games to be played. It's just, hey, he's leader, he goes, and she's going to have to follow him through. And then we got Sawyer Holden there in third place, and then the 65 Bryson Wingfield sitting there in fourth, still solidly inside the top 5.
And it looks like Evan Delfell creaking his way into the top 5 as well. He, I believe, was the 4th fast, so he started around the 8th or 9th position and passing in to the top 4 now. Well, trying to.
Exactly, yeah. And he did the smart thing there. Wasn't all the way up past the door, and really, I mean, that's kind of what you're taught is if you're not up by the door, you don't really have the line, so you should back out if you're the inside car. Some guys abide to that. Different classes have kind of their own different unwritten rules of racing. So
and every driver does too.
Exactly, yeah. But that's kind of a common one you can see. It's a lot. You see a lot more in dirt, but right there, he's definitely doing the right thing there. Backed out, waited a lap, and made the pass cleanly right there.
And Bjornsson still out front. Bender able to stay with him, but cannot get up to him to pass. Yep. So we'll watch and see what happens. Still got work. We'll be halfway down this time by 15 down and 15 to go. So we got a lot of time to see what can happen here.
Yeah, a lot of lap cars too they'll come up on, so a lot of variables these drivers have to go through. And I know it's really hard for Paisley. She's used to being able to drive her car in so hard. That's where she gains a lot of her time normally. But on this wet condition, it's hard to drive that car hard in, get hard on the brakes, because like we talked about earlier, it could lock up and send her flying way past the corner.
Yeah. With these track conditions, you don't want to push the car, because if you try to, and you'll just spin yourself out or wreck yourself, and then you're done at that point.
Yeah, so the best thing she can do right now is just continue to put a little bit of pressure on Tanner and try to force him into a mistake, but he's not budging right now. He's having a great run, and there goes Delfell trying to get into the 3rd spot past Sawyer Holden. And new 3rd place coming off the corner will be the 95 Evan Delfell, coming away from the back also.
Yeah, he's coming in quick as those two are battling for the lead. That might actually help him. He can slow those two down, and then Delfell can catch up to him. Yeah,
his car seems to be handling really well in the rain, so it'll be fun to watch if they catch some lap cars or they get racing hard. Watch him join this naked 3-car battle.
Yeah, that lap car. Oh, no, that's going to be an issue there. Stay green.
25. Oh, more contact with the race leaders now, as they're going to go side by side. We talked about they're going to get to racing, and that looked like it might have been a little bit intentional. Poor Uke tire. That's number 2 on the show if we want to keep track of that. Or I guess number 3, because Olivia got one also. Is we're going to have a lot to dissect right here. So here's going to be the first contact with the lap car. Tegan just trying to slow up, but like we talked about the wet conditions, a little bit hard, and then Paisley got into him quite a bit, 3, 4, 5 times, and then, he did not like that. So Tanner Bjornsson comes back across, hits her, sends her into the Uke tire. That's a pretty hard hit for these youth Hornets, and yeah, that was quite the sequence.
Yeah, the contact with the 01 and 25 didn't look intentional, and that didn't even I don't think that was intentional either at that point. They were just running out of room at that point.
And then this one, on the other hand, looks a little bit intentional. So we'll see what timing scoring does. They're going to send both of them back to the track or not. Looks like, both 18 and 01 are going to be to the back. So, I mean, hey, we talked about Evan Delfell. He wanted to get up there and race them, but he doesn't have to do that anymore. He's going to be leading them to the green here with under 15 to go.
We'll see what happens here. So, the 1801 sent to the principal's office, and they will have to try this all over again.
Yeah, they can go to the NASCAR hauler after the races are over or something like that. We'll see. So we're not going to have Evan Delfell, then the 32 of Sawyer Holden leading, and then it looks like 65 of Bryson Wingfield will be your top 3.
So the top 3, I believe, have not won main events, so we might have a new winner or never won before, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, that'll be fun listening to these guys out on the podium as their first ever win. It's always exciting in this Youth Hornet class.
As Delfell actually building up his lead, Holden will get him through the corners, but Delfell will beat him coming off of the corners. Kind of helps him a little bit going through the straightaway as well. Yeah,
you talked about how the 32 of Sawyer Holden, how his car looks a little bit cockeyed, and he seems to be driving and getting a little bit loose, so he's going to be able to gain in on entry in these corners. But with Evan, how straight he's driving the car and how straight he's driving off, he's going to have that straightaway speed.
Most definitely. It looked like we had Keenan Spear spin out, but she will keep going, and Delfell just keeps building that lead. Looking for his first win. Oh, that's going to get close.
A little bit of an obstacle course there. As Keenan Spear is going to come right across your leader. That's going to bring Sawyer Holden back in with about just over 10 laps to go now. We'll see if 32 can maybe force Delfell into a mistake and try to battle for this race lead.
Yeah, that could have been really bad. He had a 10-car length lead, shrunk to about 3.
Yep, so great heads-up driving there from Evan Delfell, not to make a mistake, not to run into the back of Keenan Spear. And now he's starting to check back out just like that and reopen up that race lead he had.
Yeah, he's definitely the car to beat at the track right now, and still haven't seen any signs of Bjornsson or bender at this point, so they got a lot of traffic to go through, and laps are winding down, so that is exactly what Evan Delfell wants to see.
Exactly. Under 10 laps to go now. Just keeps clicking off these nice, smooth laps. He seems to be the most consistent driver out there that I've seen, at least. Just nice and smooth every single corner, just getting in, not overdriving in. Again, good drive off and just checking out with it right now.
I think the not overdriving is definitely what's helping him. As you can see, Holden still getting loose throughout all the corners. And, you know, with the front-wheel drive, that's really nice to actually have a little bit of a loose car in the rain. But unfortunately for him, Delfell has way more speed.
Yep, exactly. As we had a great battle here for second between Bryson Wingfield and Sawyer Holden, you're just talking about, as they continue to battle on. Now 7 laps to go for the runner-up spot. As it's been a really fun race all night long. We talked about a little bit more cautions than we're used to with these guys, but it's been some great racing. A little bit of drama here and there, but it's been fun to watch.
I think we might have jinxed them because I think the last couple races they went green to checkered and we had to say something. Now
Exactly.
They might believe had 3 cautions today. So it's our fault, I guess.
Well, hey, they wrecked before we talked about
True.
it. That
That is
first
right.
caution, so then
You're
we
right.
opened it up.
Yep.
So some still good battle here. Bryson just trying to get to the back bumper to the 32 of Sawyer Holden to force a mistake, but just can't quite get close enough as Delfell's not even in the picture. There he goes across the bottom of the screen, has a lap car and a straightaway lead right now. So he's looking nice and comfortable with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to try to put Layla Mashburn down a lap. Should be no issue for Delfell as he's already gotten by. As looks like I'm starting to notice the 32 of Holden is starting to go out a little bit wider down the backstretch, trying to make turn 3 a little bit faster, but just seems to not be working for him.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different of approaches. 51 going around off the bumper of Paisley Bender, as we've seen the 51 of K.N. Spear just kind of struggling with these wet conditions. So we'll try to get a replay here and see what happened there. I was going to bring out of the caution. So riding on board with a 51, just coming in high and just kind of cuts the corner down across. Maybe didn't know the 18 was already there. So tough break there. We'll look out of the back window here and get another look at it.
It looks like just go up and yep, it happens.
Just a racing deal. So caution came out, not what Delfell wanted to see. But hey, we're gonna have a great finish here to the Youth Hornet main event when we come back here. To not go anywhere on CW11 Home Track Heroes here from Evergreen Speedway. Welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on CW11 as we got a very exciting Youth Hornet finish coming up right here. It's just under 5 laps to go, and it's been an exciting one all night long.
Yeah, we've had a couple of cautions, a little bit of here and there spin outs. We'll just have to see what happens the last 4 laps of this main event.
Evan Delfell, your race leader, he had a huge lead before the last caution came out, so he did not want to see this. Sawyer Holden now has a chance to try to run him down, and so does Bryson Wingfield sitting there in third. It looks like there's going to be a lap car of Caden Evans in between him and second place, so that'll be good for him as he's able to get a huge jump right here, and that might be all she wrote for Evan Delfell.
Yeah, we're going green now, and already has about a 10 to 15 car length lead over the rest of the field as he comes off at turn number 2 down the backstretch, looking smooth through 3 and 4, make it 3 1/4 laps to go for Delfell.
Yep, so he's on his way to I think we talked about it might be his first main event win, so that'd be awesome for the 95, and going to have a very excited Youth Hornet down there on the front stretch. As I think all 3 of these guys are going to be ecstatic up there on the podium because it's fun when you get up there and get trophies.
Oh yeah, it's always fun to get those trophies. It looks like the 25 going to take it wide again. Caden Evans, as Wingfield sitting comfortable in that 3rd spot, make it, I believe, 2 laps to go.
Yep, and I see up on the ticker, Bender back up to 4th place. Just not enough time to run down your race leader, so it's kind of a good rebound for her, though. But up front right here, Evan Delfell coming around. Should see the white flag in the air, and just 1 more lap to go. 1 more smooth, clean lap for the 95, Evan Delfell, and he'll be a main event winner.
Yeah, this will be the longest lap in his whole entire racing career as he comes up through 1 and 2 down the backstretch, hoping to see no caution flag as they come through 3 and 4. I think it's his off of turn number 4. Make Evan Delfell your winner, his first ever main event win.
Congrats to Evan Delfell, Sawyer Holden, and Bryson Wingfield. Look like we'll round out your podium finish right there. There goes Sawyer Holden by Bryson Wingfield, and wow, what an awesome race. And we'll set it down to the podium with Derek Totter up to talk to your top 3.
Now you drove that 65 car real well, stayed out of trouble, and came home 3rd. Who would you like to thank for your performance out there?
The High Friday Band, my mom, my papa, my grandma, my aunt, my whole family, and the podium goes to my papa for Father's Day.
Sawyer, you've been a fast car all season this year. Looking forward to seeing what you can do throughout the rest of it. Who would you like to thank for that speed?
I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, Clearview Moto Crew, Holden Development Group, Weatherite Roofing, and LB Motorsports.
Driver of the number 32, that's Sawyer Holden. Evan, it was clear if you watched the times, you had the fastest car. I gotta ask again, who would you like to thank for that amazing speed?
Mazda of Everett, Bruno's Pizzeria in Lake Stevens, my grandpa, my parents, my grandparents, my brother, and anyone else who worked on the car. And yeah.
Driver of the number 95, Evan Delfell, won your Youth Hornet main.
And thank you, Derek, down there. Going to be doing podium interviews all night long. So moving on now, completely different monster. We just had those little 4-cylinders with the kids in them learning. Now we got the super stock figure 8s, one of the toughest divisions we have here at Evergreen Speedway, in the rain with the V8s. Wow, this is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, add a few more cylinders and another couple feet to the cars. This will be fun.
And put them in the intersection, most dangerous intersection on the planet.
So up front, you just saw his grandson win at main event. Let's see if he can have a Delfell duo. Car number 01, the Grizz, Doug Delfell, sponsored by Mazda of Everett. Outside of the Grizz, JE55 at Jessica Wilkinson.
Then in row number 2, we have the 72 with Jeff Talbert, sponsored by Pilchuck Heating. And his outside the 11, Blaine Manning, sponsored by Be Happy Carpet Cleaning.
The 19 car of Harrison Hardwick. Outside of Harrison, car number 49, Calvin Miller, sponsored by Precision Forestry, Inc., out of Arlington.
Then we have the 67 of Mackenzie Edith, sponsored by BECU. And her outside, the 43, Sheridan Vincent, sponsored by Siska Power Equipment.
The Cowboy, John Carlson, in the 5 car, sponsored by Mary's Towing. Outside of the Cowboy, the 76S of Chris Southard.
And rounding out your field, the 66 of Rick Jones, sponsored by Winners Shop Beer and Winners Speed Shop Beer. And my bad, I thought I missed a word there, but we're about to go green flag here in a very, very damp conditions for these super stock figure 8s, and this is going to be a very, very tough race for these guys because they have all that power to the rear wheel drives, and it's slippery out there.
Very slippery as we are off to the green, as Grizz will take the lead, slides up a little bit, maybe give the spot to Jessica. Can't quite make it happen as we got the 76 of Southard and the 66 of Rick Jones spinning out.
Yep, so we talked about how tricky it's going to be for these guys. Looks like we're going to try to stay green. Nope, yellow flag's going to come out as a 66. Was pointed the wrong way. You don't really want to have any head-on collisions like that, so you got to fire it back up. We'll let him retake the end of the field here and try that again, but yeah, tough break there.
Looks like just going in. Yeah, I think he
got loose, it looked like before, and then poor 66 of Jones, just nowhere to go.
Yeah, he got loose going in and slid up into the 66.
Yep.
Nothing on purpose. It's just
it's racing.
When you race in those conditions, it'll happen.
Especially like you mentioned, it was dry all day. So these guys didn't really get to have much track time in the wet conditions. And knock on wood, it's been a fairly good year up here in the Northwest.
Yeah. Hopefully we don't have to see that.
Yeah. So this segment is brought to you by Bardall. Bardall Manufacturing, located in Seattle, is a world leader in automotive lubricants. With oils, additives, and lubricants for your car, truck, boat, or motorized toy, pick the brand races around the world rely on, Bardall. Celebrating over 82 years in the business and operating in 90 countries, make Bardall your brand. As we're going to go double blocks here with the up top shot and Calvin Miller in the 49. Should be outside of row 3 or inside row 3 now.
Yeah, it looks like Grizz will retake the lead as they go through the south turn, as Miller looking like he might have tried to get to the inside of Blaine Manning, but can't quite make it work. But Grizz clean and clear up front.
Exactly, yeah, and I love looking as you see the 11 car right there on your screen and both in front as he gets really loose there. A little bit of announcer's curse, but I was about to talk about him. Blaine Manning, that is such a sharp-looking super stock figure 8. That all white with the 11, a little bit of blue on it. I love that car.
No excuse, you can't see him.
Exactly, yep. He sticks out definitely as he's sitting there in the 4th spot right now behind Jeff Talbert. He's putting a little bit of pressure on the JE55 of Jess Wilkinson. Oh, Sheridan Vincent gets a little love tap there from, I believe is that Harrison Hardwick in the 19?
Harrison Hardwick, and he'll take the 5 car at Carlson with him as well.
Some synchronized spinning right there.
Out front though, Grizz, he's gone. It looks like he has about a 10 to 15 car length over the 55 of Jessica Wilkinson. Jessica doing a great job hanging on to the 2nd spot. Looks like we're going to have some traffic in the intersection in a couple laps.
Yeah, I mean, with those cars spinning out and with just how slow the track is, we're definitely going to have some intersection action early as Jessica Wilkinson getting a little bit loose there. There goes Talbert to the inside now, trying to take over that 2nd spot. He's going to get loose and drift up into her. That's going to open up the door for Blaine Manning to try to stick his nose in there 3 wide, take over the 2nd spot. Now he gets loose. as we're just spinning all over the place. It just goes to show how tough these cars are to handle in this wet condition.
Yeah, this is, like I said, some of the hardest conditions to race in. It's wet, but not too wet. So it's bringing a lot of the oils out of the track onto the racing surface, and this is what the result is what we're seeing here.
So now we see Doug Delfeld with the lap car of Vincent right behind him. So I think this is your second place, almost a whole straightaway lead for your race leaders. We got Talbert in second, Calvin Miller now in third, trying to put some pressure on as the Grizz, he's just up front, running his own race now, has a little bit of gaps, so he can try to be smart with it. But it is so tough conditions out there. This is going to be a fun race for another 25 laps.
Yeah, it looks like, that was going to be close for the Grizz. It looks like Southard made a good decision to turn around and not try to get into the intersection with the Grizz, as it looks like we stay green thus far. He keeps going, going to be no hindrance to anybody at all. Grizz looking for his first win since 2020, so hopefully he can pull it off tonight.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I do remember that win. That was such a fun one here in our inaugural season of CW11 Home Track Heroes. Go back, find that episode and watch it because it is a fun one. During the good old COVID year, when we had to resort to racing with no fans. What an experience that was.
Yeah, it definitely was.
So right now, still watching that battle for second. Talbert doing a great job keeping the young Calvin Miller at bay right now. Just running your smooth, clean race. Don't make any mistakes. Run your line as Miller trying to dive to the inside. Just not enough as they're almost kind of closing the gap on Grizz just a little bit as caution's going to come out for Jessica Wilkinson right there. Spun out at the top of North Pole. Looked like might have had a flat right rear tire. I couldn't quite tell when
I
they
think
went
so.
by.
Poor Jessica. She's had a rough season so far this year, and unfortunately it has continued into this race.
I want to say just this season. I feel like she's had the worst luck in the past couple years in the Super Stock Figure 8 division.
I feel really bad for her. Everything just seems to be going wrong.
Yep.
So I was hoping this might have been the race where something might have gone right for her.
Yeah, you can see that tire was a little bit low, a little bit flat on the right side, sitting on that rim. Is it just wrong place, wrong time? Didn't get a replay. What happened? Could have had some contact, or worse, it just went down by itself. So just tough luck for the J55. She looks like she got a new boot on it though, and is taking the end of the field. So there's still hope for her. 23 laps to go. That's a long race, especially in the wet conditions. Anything can happen for her.
Yep, we have a lot of time left. As looks like, I believe we call these Delaware-style restarts. Is this what we call these?
That sounds right. I think so, yeah, because I've heard a bunch of different variants of it. That's the one I'm most familiar with. Let's roll with that.
I know it's definitely been a tradition out here for the Figure 8 division at Evergreen Speedway. They've been doing that for a long time. Ooh, that could have been way worse, but well, they're still going.
Yeah, that right front though looks like it was hit pretty hard by that U tire. So I think that's U tire number 4 hit on the show. So that's looks like Chris Southard had a little bit of right front shock damage, or maybe bent an arm on that right front. But
had a lot more camber.
Yeah, there he goes pulling off. So tough break for him there. As Sheridan Vincent's starting to work his way back forward. I'm not sure if he lost a lap earlier or not, but he's working his way back forward regardless. And that 43 looking really strong.
Yeah, doing a great job. I believe he might be a lap down. When he spun out, they didn't go yellow. And I think he might have lost a lap, but he's hanging tough still. Even though he's a lap down, he's hanging tough, and the leaders can't quite get around him.
Exactly, yeah, and this is his second year racing these. This is his first full-time year. I know he brought this car out a couple times last year, so it's his really his second year, first full-time year, though. So it's awesome seeing him get all these laps in, keep working hard. And, he's looking really strong, really fast here in that sharp-looking 43. Yeah, also another really good-looking car out there.
Yeah, he's been very busy. He's got 2 street stocks and a super stock figure 8, so he's got not a lot of time on his hands.
Yeah, so I think we'll see his son later on Chevy in the street stock division, I believe.
Correct.
Yep, so it'll be fun watching that. That's a car that actually Sheridan won in last year. He won a street stock race. That was awesome. So he did probably one of the burnouts of the year on the front stretch. As there goes Jessica Wilkinson rejoining the field, so she had more issues that she had to get attended to, but rejoining the field back out there. As a quick rundown on your top 3, Doug Delfeld, the Grizz still leading the way with 11 laps complete. Jeff Talbert having a really strong run in second. John Carlson in that 5 machine running in third, and it's weird not seeing the one-arm band in that machine. I'll say that.
Yeah, John's been the tough guy to beat this year. I think we've only had 2 different winners so far this year. It was the 67 of Mike Stelton, and then the 5 car of John Carlson. So if Carlson can't make it happen tonight, we'll have a new winner so far this year.
Awesome. And speaking of John Carlson, we're going to go on board it with him in the 5 machine as he looks into the outside, trying to get around Jess Wilkinson with a lap car. That's second place right in front of him with Jeff Talbert in the 72. So we'll see what John Carlson's able to do. And that just goes to show how wet it is out there, all the raindrops on the windscreen right there for him. But he's putting down some solid laps. Like you said, got a few future wins already, just trying to be nice, solid, work his way through the field. has a lot of experience, great, a lot of people on this field, so he knows how to get it done here at Evergreen Speedway.
Yeah, he has a lot of championships, a lot of figure 8 nationals wins, and 60 minutes of fear wins as well. So he definitely has a very good resume to his racing career, as it was 20 years ago this year that he won his first ever championship in the super figure 8 division. So he's been a winner for a long time in this division.
Yeah, we talked about the slippery track conditions. If he wins, he's got a slippery fence conditions that he has to climb over, because that's his signature move when he wins a race, is to climb the fence. So he's going to have some tough conditions if he ends up winning the race on the fence side of things too.
Yeah, if he's able to get it done tonight. He told me the last time it's getting harder and harder to get up that fence. As looks like poor Jessica.
Yep.
Having some more issues tonight.
Going around there. We saw Calvin Miller dirt tracking it, avoiding her, so good job by him not to get in front of her. She gets it refired back up. We stay green for now. 15 laps down, 15 to go. Is your top 3 now, all almost nose to tail. So the 01 of Delfell must have had some lap traffic or something that we missed that he has slowed him up, as there goes past for second place, John Carlson on the inside of Jeff Talbert, and he's going to be right on the back bumper of the Grizz before we know it.
Yeah, it's one thing to get up to him, but it's another thing to try to pass the Grizz. You know, he's looking for that first win in a few years, so I think he's going to make it very, very tough to get around.
Exactly, yeah. So it's mainly been the intersection. Looks like was slowing him up. The 11 of Blaine Manning was crossing in front of the Grizz, just too far from to where he can't make a move. He has to slow up a little bit, kill that momentum. So that's been the real hindrance for the 01 of the Grizzlies. You can see that's a solid line of cars that they're catching up to in the intersection. So as this lead battle continues to play out, that intersection is going to get even hotter, as the top 3 still on nose to tail. Jeff Talbot looked to the inside of Carlson there for a second, almost had the shot to do it. Not quite enough yet. It is Talbot staying right there with him, making this an awesome 3-car battle for the race win with 12 to go.
And Talbot has the best view in the house right now. I don't know if it's the safest, but it's definitely the best view, as Carlson trying to get around the Grizz through the outside. He can get through the middle, but coming off, Grizz will beat him. As the next lap or two, these 3 are going to have to make some very tough decisions.
Oh, maybe not, as that was a pretty tough hit there between Mackenzie Dietz and the 55, Jessica Williamson. You see Calvin Miller spin out into the left of your screen also, so we'll see if we have a replay of this. Looks like we do, as it's been an awesome action-packed battle. As we're going to ride on board Mackenzie Dietz. Looks like just loses it going in, and hey, they avoid a Uke tire at least.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
So just tough break there, as we're going to take a step away real quick. Do not go anywhere. We got the exciting Superstock Figure 8 finish coming up from Evergreen Speedway. And welcome back to Coastal Community Bank Night here at Evergreen Speedway, as we got 18 laps complete of the Superstock Figure 8 division, and it's been an exciting one. We had a great battle there going into the caution.
Yeah, it's been the Grizz show and John Carlson show. Let's watch and see what happens here. 12 laps to go, and anything can happen.
Exactly. This segment is brought to you by Blue Boy Golf and Event Center. Looking for the perfect location to host your wedding or special corporate event? Look no further than Blue Boy Golf and Event Center in Monroe. A beautiful 9-hole golf course with awesome mountain views makes a wonderful venue for your special day, and it's about to be someone's special day here with 12 to go. Doug Delfell has done a great job all race long, and here comes John Carlson, as Doug Delfell is going to shoot past the south corner and open up the door, as Calvin Miller's going to go around inside the battle for the top 5, as we got cars going everywhere, and Delfell, he might have an issue.
Yeah, he's definitely has something going on, as he's losing spots. 1, 2, 3. He actually lost almost all of them now, and he's pulling in the pits now.
Oh, so heartbreak for Doug Delfell. Like you mentioned, just watched his grandkid go to victory lane and was hoping to make it the Dougfell, what'd you call it?
The Delfell duo.
The Delfell duo, and some trouble there for Doug Delfell, the Grizz. We're talking about as there goes to 66 of Rick Jones around, but heartbreak there. But John Carlson going to take over the race lead. Now Blaine Manning going around. Gosh, this track is so hard to drive right now.
I think the rain has now picked up again.
Yeah, it looks like it has. 66 of Jones hasn't got it fired back up, but he's kind of in a safe spot, so we'll stay green for now, as we'll try to get a rundown here. Top 3, according to the ticker right now, is showing John Carlson and Jeff Talbot. Then Mackenzie Dietz, after that last caution, are driven her way back up to a podium spot. But wow, that was an eventful. That was only 2 laps. Wow, what happened?
There was so much going on, I couldn't even tell.
Exactly. Yeah, we needed like 6 more cameras out there to capture what was all happening. But right now, John Carlson, the Cowboy, your race leader, looking for another win on the season, as he's going to shoot the gap there. Wow, that was quite risky.
Yeah. With only, looks like we have 8 laps to go now, and looks like the 67 will get around. I believe that's Harrison Hardwick. I believe he's a lap down now, as looks like the 5 car is starting to gain that lead even more, and he's going to have some pretty tough decisions, like I said once again before we went to commercial, if he's going to shoot the gap or not, because he has quite a big, substantial lead.
Yep, and there was Sheridan kind of backing up and not pushing the issue too much, letting the race leader go by. So Sheridan doing the smart move there. And here comes Delfeld back out, so got whatever issues was fixed with him. And he's going to blend right back in, show him that, hey, you can't just pass me that easy. You know, he's going to go back out there, try to redeem himself, and get back by the Cowboy.
Yeah, it looked like it was something simple. He wasn't out there or wasn't missed for that long. He might have, I think he's a couple laps down at this point. So we'll have to see what happened to him as he's actually able to stay with John Carlson. So, you know, if you're Doug Delfeld, does it kind of make you mad because it would, you know, something went wrong with your car and you get next to the leader and he's not pulling away from you?
Exactly, and he's not mad at John Carlson.
No,
he's just mad.
not,
he's just mad at the issue.
Yeah, he's
whatever,
mad at
whatever
himself or
sidelined
at the
him.
issue.
Yeah. It's a tough break there for the Grizz in the 0-1 as he's put pressure on, like we mentioned, a couple laps down, not battling for the race lead here, but definitely showing that he had a strong enough car to compete with John Carlson in the 5.
Yeah, it looks like we got 5 laps to go. 10 more times through the intersection, so a lot can happen as it looks like the field is really starting to spread out, as that could help the 72 of Jeff Talbert go for his first, and then Grizz will go around.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about how tough this track is to drive. I mean, John Carlson and the Grizz Delfeld, they probably have more laps on this track than the rest of the field combined. That's how long they've been around doing it. So even when the experienced Doug Delfeld goes around, it shows how slippery this track really is.
Yeah, I can only imagine how many laps Delfeld has. I'm sure it's in the hundreds of thousands of laps between both of them.
Yep, exactly. So John Carlson now with just 3 laps to go. A little bit intersection games going on with the third place Mackenzie Dietz, as he has about a half-track lead over third place right there, as he's going to put some pressure on the 43 of Sheridan Vincent, try to put another lap down.
Yeah, it's pretty much just smooth sailing for the 5-car Carlson. Don't need to make any moves. Second place, I think, is just now going through the intersection, so he has quite a big lead. Just kind of let everything happen and just stay out of the way.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed watching this on TV, come on out to Evergreen Speedway in person and watch these guys. We got a ton of big figure 8 races left to go this year. I believe 60 Minutes of Fear is coming up. We got figure 8 nationals, a ton of big events for figure 8s, and they're on almost every single weekly show anyway. So you're going to want to come out and watch these in person. Best seat in the house is at Evergreen Speedway, as 1 to go for John Carlson.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, smooth sailing. He's got to try to get around the 11-car of Manny, which at this point he probably is not even going to attempt to, as I believe he won the last race that the Superstock figure 8s raced last time, so it looks like he might be going for 2 or 3 in a row and give the win to John Carlson.
So checkered flag out for John Carlson. Jeff Talbert strong. I think he's in second place the entire night. He's going to come home second. And then Mackenzie Dietz in the 67 under the BECU machine coming home third, as we're going to throw it down onto the podium, talk to your top 3, and get their opinions on the very wet track conditions.
All righty, Mackenzie, you made it through that fairly chaotic race. Just weaving your way through the pack. What was the secret to surviving that?
To not spin out, and I tried not to hit anybody, but I might have accidentally hit my Aunt Jessica. Sorry, I tried to hit the brakes.
You two got together, but you salvaged a top 3 finish out of it. Who would you like to thank for your performance tonight?
I'd like to thank BECU, Buzzin' Steakhouse, Reppin' Welding and Rail, Two Girls and a Leaf, Delta Cams. Holy cow, I'm forgetting a lot of people. J2, Joe's, Tattoosh Designs for all of the pictures and stuff. I'm saving the best for last, Mom. And Brandy Hood Promotions for just everything she does behind the scenes that you all don't know about. She does all of the in-car cameras for the CW11. So, and CW11 for letting us have some TV time. And thank you to the fans for coming out on this rainy day. We truly appreciate you guys coming out. Thank you.
Driver the number 67, that's Mackenzie Dietz. All righty, Jeff, you had second for most of that race, chasing Doug and then chasing John. How does it feel racing with some of these drivers? You got a newer car this year, or at least a new paint scheme. What's it like racing with these guys?
I mean, you learn every single day. So every time you're out here, you're watching what the other drivers are doing, you're listening to what the other drivers are doing or trying to help you or do. We try to help each other as much as we can. And if it pays off, it pays off. I watch their lines, just kind of follow and see what they do. I mean, 99% of the time, I'm following one of the best that there is to do it. So I'm watching his lines as best I can.
Who would you like to thank for your performance out here tonight?
I got to thank my wife, my son, all my kids, Jim and Jessica, Doug, basically all the Wilkinsons, Pilchuck Heating, and then Stephanie's Hope.
Driver of the number 72, second place tonight, that's Jeff Talbert. You got a big fan club out here tonight, John? So you came home first tonight, worked your way through the field. What is it that allows you to recover from a spin like that and come back to finish first?
The cautions. If it wasn't for those cautions, I don't think I would have been able to catch Doug. He was out almost a full lap on me at that point, and I don't think I would have caught him and run him down if we would have gone full green.
And you've had a fast car all season long. Who would you like to thank for putting that thing together?
Well, Chris tows it out. I help him. I do some work on it. I wrecked the thing pretty good a couple weeks ago, got it fixed. But Mary over here from Mary's Towing, she pays the bills for me to drive that hot rod, so thank you.
Driver of the number 5, race winner tonight, that's the Cowboy, John Carlson.
Well, we had the big V8 cars out there. Now we're going back to the 4-cylinders, but this time we're going to go road course racing with Interstate Battery Hornets, and we got 22 of them here tonight, so that's going to be a very fun race.
Yeah, on a wet track, what can go wrong?
Exactly, yeah. And we're going to run the reverse boot here, and last year, or the regular boot, last year we ran the same course in wet conditions also, and it was one of the most exciting green to checkered races we had, so maybe we can get them to repeat that. On the front row, we got the 85 Exa Jeremy Smith, sponsored by AAA Transmission and Performance. Is outside the 85 Hunter Jenkins, sponsored by Elite Construction Contractors.
717 a Diesel Snyder, sponsored by Hair Inc. Outside the Diesel, car number 20 Riley Riddell, sponsored by PharmaSave in Monroe.
Row number 3, we got the 17S of Gino Solomon, sponsored by Valley Asphalt. His outside the 30 Pat Folger, sponsored by Olympia Pizza.
The 19 car is Scarlett Fisher, sponsored by North Sound Fence, and the 28 of Ethan Payne, sponsored by Joe Speed Shop.
Next row, we got the 88 of Eric Kramer, sponsored by Northwest Security and Sound. And starting 10th, the 163 of Annika Duncan, sponsored by Misfit Motorsports.
Car number 33 is Ryan Hassenflux, sponsored by Cornerstone Homes. Outside of him, car number 81 of Bobby Fisher, sponsored by North Sound Fence.
Then the next row, we got the G2 of Brad Gruel, sponsored by Granite Falls Community Chiropractic. And his outside the 15 Matt Snyder, sponsored by Hair Inc.
77 of Christian Miller, sponsored by Turbo Espresso, and the 025 Trent Gillespie, sponsored by Burger Madness.
Then we got the 43 of Damon Claiborne, sponsored by Abendroth Equine. Develop the horse and rider. The 00 of Dan Miller, sponsored by Exterior Wall Systems Inc.
The 07 of Zach Bristol, sponsored by Gourmet Latte, our fast time qualifier and heat race winner. The 101 of Brian McNara, sponsored by True Line Wheel and Frame.
Rounding out the field, we got the 48 of Trinity Rolls, sponsored by CR Gutters. Her outside, the 59 of Tegan Bjornson, sponsored by Misfit Motorsports. As we're going to go quad box for you guys at home, as they're going to have every angle possible going to green flag.
It looks like green flag is out. The 85s will lead us into turn 1. Everyone looks to dodge. The 85 of the, looks like that's the other 85 of Jeremy Smith goes out. The track way too high. He hangs on to it, and he hangs on to that second position.
Yeah, we had almost a full invert on this field, and we're got the 285s up front. That seems a little fishy on how that happened. As we got Brad Gruel up in the top left, Bobby Fisher in the top right, Trent Gillespie in the bottom right, and then obviously the up-top camera to your bottom left. As we got cars just going every direction right now. I'm just overwhelmed. I don't know where to watch, but you can definitely see windshield wipers working hard, as it is definitely raining hard now.
Yeah, the rain's definitely coming down a lot harder, as the 17 of Gino Solomon will grab the lead, as they're thinking about 3-4 wide through the corners there, as oh my gosh, there's just so much going on right there.
Yeah, but we got definitely the more experienced drivers running hard early, trying to pick up as many spots as possible. We got Ryan Hasselbeck there in the 33 and Bobby Fisher in the 81. You normally guys that are in your championship battle towards the end of the year. Ryan Hasselbeck, your championship winner last year, as he's trying to work his way up to the front. As Gino Solomon, comfortable. He got a little bit sideways there in the south corner up front in your race leader, and then it's just mayhem behind him.
Yeah, 3 wide between Fisher, the 20 of Riddell, and the 33 Hassenfleck, as they go to the right-hander now. seems to be no issues going through that. And, when I ran Hornets here on this road course, we just had a small access road. They're spoiled now with this 4 or 5 wide that they can do.
Exactly.
We could barely do 2 wide through there.
Yeah, it got paved last year, and it definitely shows a lot more uses for that access road. But yeah, it's definitely 3 times the size as it used to be. As we still got 3 wide going on right now. Hassenfleck's just going around everyone, and Byfield's going on the inside of everyone, and they're passing everyone at the same time. And then you got Snyder on the 15 working his way forward as well.
Yeah, it's definitely working for the 81 of Fisher and the 33 Hassenfleck, as I believe they're cracking into the top 7th or 8th position. I believe they started deep in the field, right around 16th or 17th. So the man on the move right now is Trent Gillespie, who I believe has a win or 2 under his belt this year.
Exactly, yeah, and he just got into 2nd place. And Fisher and Snyder up to 4th and 5th now, so already inside the top 5 as they're really working their way forward. And it's still just a gaggle of cars behind them going into the south corner. These track conditions are so rough for them to be able to get through this far without any incident has been really awesome.
Yeah, and definitely it takes a lot of skill, a lot of patience to do that. As looks like Hunter Jenkins hanging on for that 5th or 3rd final podium spot, I can't quite make out who's behind or who's going to pass for that, as maybe we can go through. It looks like the 15 of Matt Snyder cracking into the top 3.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see this class. It's always been a very family fair out here at Evergreen Speedway. But in this class, we got Dan Miller and Christian Miller. We got Matt Snyder and Diesel Snyder. And I thought I saw another duo out there also. But, there's just tons of family here at Evergreen Speedway. It's so much fun to watch them race together.
Yeah. Racing family stays together.
Exactly, yep. So Gino Solomon up front pretty comfortably right now over Trent Gillespie. Matt Snyder sitting in 3rd. Now we got Fisher in 4th and Hassenfleck up to 5th.
And I believe he's our defending champion last year, so he's trying to see maybe even go for 2 for 2 this year. I haven't quite looked at the points yet. Still kind of too early to tell at this point, though.
Exactly, yeah. But there's your race lead right there. Solomon in the black car, and then Gillespie in the black with neon on the side of it. So comfortable 12, 15 car length lead right now for Gino's. This seems to be where he struggles the most, is the south corner. It's so flat, so slippery, but from then on, it seems like he gets pretty good drive off through the access road on the 3/8.
Yeah, one thing I struggle with going into turn 1 is trying to hit your marks, because the Uke tires in turn 1, they're always moving. So you're trying to hit your marks at every possible moment, as it looks like they're starting to catch the 17 of Gino Solomon. And Sullivan knows who's behind him because he's looking at the scoreboard as he goes by.
Exactly, yeah. So there's a pass for 2nd right there. Matt Snyder going around Gillespie. So Matt Snyder, he seems to have the strongest car right now. It seems like he's so smooth, able to just get the power down, not really sliding around. And that's really what you want to do here, is not be sliding all around. Just have a nice, strong, comfortable car. And as you see, Hassenfleck goes flying into that the little chicane there onto the 3/8, and he's able to make it work. But here comes Fisher to the inside.
Yeah, now that lead has shrunk very dramatically, about 3 car lengths. Make it 2 now as they go into the turn 1. I guess you'd call that turn 1 of the 3/8 or the turn 1 of the 5th mile, as it's down to a car length. Matt Snyder, who started, it looks like 14th, might be taking the lead here soon, as we got a good battle between the 33 and the 81. They just cannot get away from each other.
Exactly, yeah. And then you got the G2 in the battle also. So Brad Gruhl, he's able to work his way up. I think he has an event win on the year also. So it's been fun to watch all of these guys. It seems to be the most competitive class. Anyone can win any given week. As there goes Fisher, he's really fishtailing it through the 3/8 turns 3 and 4 onto the front stretch. We got 20 laps to go now.
Yeah, that definitely messed him up going through those corners, because now the 33 Hassenfleck has definitely gained his lead in between both of them. These cars are all momentum because they have no horsepower. So what Fisher just did just messed up his whole horsepower. It looks like the 15 of Snyder trying to look any way around the 17 of Solomon, as it looked like he was going to try the inside. I think he's just going to wait, pounce, and see what happens if the 17 is going to make a mistake or not.
Yeah, he can't wait too long, though, because there goes Gillespie. Well, Gillespie was right to his back bumper. Now he slid through turn number 1 right there, trying to open up his entry, and just went through too far. As looks like we got a car coming to a stop right there. That's kind of a little bit of a dangerous blind corner right there. It looks like the 85, I think Hunter Jenkins, or no, Jeremy Smith possibly in the green, number 85. So that's, I think, going to bring out the yellow flags, like the car's coming to slow. Yep, yellow lights on. So just over a third of the way done of this Interstate Battery Hornet main event here on the boot, as he's able to get it fired back up and head to the pits to try to get it fixed. But we're going to go to commercial. We still got 19 laps of action here in the Interstate Battery Hornet main event. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on CW11. 11 laps down, 19 to go. I'm Kyler Hope, and joined by Chad Fitzpatrick as we got Interstate Battery Hornets left to finish.
Yeah, this has definitely been a great race. I think we're a third of the way down. Quite a lot of battles going on, and so far it's been clean. Hopefully I didn't just jinx them.
Yeah, so the top 6 here, all really strong, all been in the podium win contention for every race, it seems like. So this is going to get exciting here. We still have 19 laps to go with a lot of the strong guys that made their way up front now in the top 6.
Yeah, so it looks like we got Gino Sullivan and the 15 of Matt Snyder on the front row, and they got a whole bunch of cars behind them with a whole bunch of laps left, as it looks like the green light is about to turn on, and we are going to resume this Hornet main event as they go scrambling towards turn number 1.
Green flag back out in the air, and oh, wow, that was a nice hit right there. Uke tire number 5, as that was the 48.
Looks like Trinity Rosal.
Yep, Trinity Rosal, yep.
So that was a hard hit.
Well, good to see her get back going as we got a replay of it. A little bit back in the pack. Looks like Bjornsson are inside and just kind of clears herself coming down. And, yeah, wow, both back tires get popped up. Was that maybe a piece of the muffler falling off?
I think so, and it moved that tire just perfectly against the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So that was a pretty solid hit right there for the 48. So I was glad to see her keep going. Obviously, she's feeling okay enough to keep driving, because sometimes you can get a little shooken up in the car when something like that happens.
She probably felt okay at that moment, but probably Sunday, she's probably not going to feel very good tomorrow morning.
Yep, exactly. So this segment is brought to you by Busch Beer. Busch Beer is the official beer of NASCAR and Evergreen Speedway. Busch Beer, the sound of refreshment, crisp and cold as a mountain stream. Keep your fridge happy by stocking it with Busch and Busch Light. Busch, as it is quite refreshing outside with all this rain that we got going on.
Most definitely. A little bit cold right now, but it looks like we're going to try this again. Hopefully we have no more tires getting hit this time around as we're going green. They're thinking about 3 wide. Can't make the pass before the start-finish line. We'll watch and see what happens there as they are 3 wide going into the 1 for the first position, I should say.
Gillespie got a good jump, but like you mentioned, it's hard. You can't, when you get a good jump like that, you don't want to try to pass for the line, but it's also like you don't want to give up that momentum that you got going on. We talked about how momentum-based these cars are, but up front, looks like the 15 of Snyder got a great jump as it's just chaos back behind him. But Snyder, your new race leader, Gino Solomon second, Gillespie in third with Hassenfluck all over the rear end, trying to get into the inside line, going down into the hairpin corner at the South Pole. And it looks like Hassenfluck's going to take over that third spot.
Yeah, he'll take over the podium spot. But look here, here comes the 07 of Zach Bristol. That's a new car for him. Fast time qualifier, heat race winner. He won a couple weeks ago, and that was his first ever clean sweep. Maybe he'll go for another one tonight.
Yeah, trying to get back up front again. So, I mean, he's 5 for 5 in last events with qualifying heat race as the main event. So he's trying to keep that streak going. And I mean, he's been not in the picture a ton, which is a good thing. He's not in the action. He's able to just kind of keep his stuff nice, clean, calm, work his way forward. He's obviously experienced enough, been around the block a few times to know, hey, I don't need to push that hard right now. We got a long race ahead. As Gillespie's going to get in the back of Solomon, and that's going to allow Hasselfluck to go by on the outside to inside on that chicane. And Hasselfluck now up to second place, going to try to run down Matt Snyder.
Yeah, the 17 and the 25 just cannot figure out if they want to get by each other or not. That was a great save by both of them. That could have been very bad for all of them involved with that.
Yeah, that's one of the higher speed portions of the track going on to the 3/8 down the front stretch, and they made contact probably the worst spot. And their cars look okay. It looks like tire-to-tire contact, which can sometimes bend or break stuff really easily, but 17 going the wrong direction as he keeps losing spots, going further back. As 25, he seems to have a lot of speed, but it just isn't that consistent. He's able to get these bursts of speed where he kind of moves forward, puts some pressure on, but then he'll get loose and lose that momentum really quickly. So if he's able to figure out how to be a little bit smoother right there, I think he could probably run down the race leader here soon.
Definitely. He's definitely struggling in the corners versus down the straightaway, so a little bit more horsepower than Hassenfluck, but Hassenfluck can just get through the corners way better. As here comes Zach Bristol, just slowly working his way up through the pack. He's always there when it matters.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that's kind of it's been kind of announced that he's like the 4-cylinder guru, you know, around every Speedway between the mini stocks, Hornets, and the Stinger 8s. He's done it all and he's won it all. So it's been really fun. He's always the first guy to go out and try to lend a helping hand to anyone around him. So it's always fun seeing Zach Bristol out here, and he's running well, just outside the top 5 right now with just under 15 laps to go now.
Yeah, and looks like Matt Snyder has grown that lead very large at this point. It looks like almost a full straightaway as it looks like Ryan Hasselblock in second and Trent Gillespie in third. And it looks like great battle there for the 40. I think that's a 43. Can't quite make out the number. That is the 43 of Damon Claiborne. Painted his car look a little different.
Exactly.
Threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny because he normally has the biggest door numbers out there in his old car, the gray car with the big old 43 on the side, and now it's the opposite.
Yeah, couldn't quite make out what it said, but it looks like the 17 doing a great job hanging on for the 5th spot, or 4th spot, I believe.
Yeah, he got shaken up and moved back a little bit, but he's been able to kind of regain his composure and keep a solid top 5 finish as of right now. As there goes Bristol looking to the inside of Claiborne. I know they're good buddies, so he's looking to the inside of him, rubbing doors a little bit, and we'll see if Claiborne can do a little bit of a crossover move and get back to the inside, which is not going to be the outside coming up on this corner, but Claiborne not going away easy.
Yeah, he made it really hard for Bristol, as now the Claiborne will have the advantage. Bristol had the advantage going in, but we'll have it. They kind of do a switcheroonie coming off the corner, but Snyder has just completely gone, and oh, there goes that bumper a little bit more.
Yeah, the bumper kept going off, and now we're going 3 wide for the 4th spot. Let's see if that will work. Going to the corner, Claiborne tries to back out, and actually might be the better move. He can get a little crossover move again on Zach Bristol going down the inside, and that might work for 4th spot. Here comes Brad Gruel. He sees that battle going on, saying thank you very much.
Oh, that
more
was
contact
close.
right there.
Oh my.
You tire number 6.
Yeah, that's number 6, and none of them have been winning this battle.
Yeah. So it looks like Claiborne, he's able to get fired back up, and as he's just in a really bad spot, you see the yellow lights come on. That's definitely what the 15 to Snyder did not want to see. It's like we talked about, he had a huge lead before that yellow came out.
So we'll see what happened here. Going through the right-hander, just got loose, it looked like, and then just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and it's tough because when you get on that outside line that not a whole lot of cars been running on, it's a lot more slick than you might think if you're used to running that inside line. I think that's what happened to Claiborne there. And then tried to save it, kept the car as low as he could, but the 17 Solomon just came across his nose. We're going to get a great look at it here. Those tires came up quick, and then those 2 tires right there, so that's 6 and 7, really.
Yeah.
So
and no one won that battle, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, it didn't look like Claiborne's car might not have got a lot of damage. We are obviously not right next to the car, but it looked like maybe he can continue on and maybe be a contender for this.
Yeah, the yellow flag only came out just because he was in such a bad spot. It's such a high-speed corner, a little bit of a blind left-hander. It's easy to see the car from up here, but when you're down behind, you have that tire barrier right there we're looking at. It's hard to see a car right there, so they brought it out more for just a safety thing than a broken car thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we got the 15 car of Snyder in the lead, and we got a lap car. I believe that's the 59 of Tegan Bjornsson. So it looks like the Hornet class tends to blend the lap cars in. So this will actually help. I don't even know who's in second at this point because it kind of is a little messed up. I think it's Gillespie now.
Yeah,
is in second?
Yeah, Gillespie and then Hasselblock right there. And Hasselblock's going to try to get to the inside quickly and get by this lap car of Bjornsson. As if I remember right, it was the rain race last year on the same configuration that Bjornsson was running so strong up front, but then overshot the corner and went by and ended up losing. It might have been in a B main actually, and lost a transfer spot by doing that. So Bjornsson does not have great memories with this track, as he's looks like missed a little bit of shift there, but he got the car back going as he's up there running with the race leaders right now. As top 3 kind of checking out as we got Brad Gruel with a big wobble down there off turn number 4.
Yeah, he was heading towards that tires, and he already knows he'll lose that battle with the tires. But Snyder picking back up for where he left off from that last caution, just keeps gaining and gaining. And looks like as the 025 of Gillespie and the 33 Hasselblock keep fighting for the lead, they're just going to keep gaining that lead.
Exactly, yeah. As you saw Hasselblock again, or not Hasselblock, Gillespie again just slide through that corner and just loses momentum when he does that. As that allowed now Hasselblock to try to get to the inside, but just not able to dive in enough as Gillespie's going to overshoot the corner. As he didn't wiggle that much, he's able to keep the car underneath him, which was a great piece of driving. They're able to save it. Obviously missed the corner, but didn't spin out or lose the car. So great piece of driving there from Gillespie. That was incredible save right there. It's so hard to do in these wet conditions.
Yeah. When you have front wheel drive and you hit the brake just a wee bit too hard, that car will just want to go straight. Unless you're the 17 car of Solomon, as he's just been struggling with that car getting really loose.
Yeah, it seemed like he was really good on that initial run we had. As there goes Gillespie overshooting it again a little bit. But it seemed like Solomon had such a great start, but then since then the track conditions might have just changed away from his car, and hasn't been able to regain the composure that he had early on in this race.
And I think unfortunately we have another rain shower coming over too. I'm starting to notice the track is seeming to get a little bit wetter again, the pavement's starting to turn a little more darker than compared to the beginning of the A main, so that might also have been a factor as well.
Yeah, so not only do these drivers pick out of a hat for what road or what course they're running each week, but now they don't know if it's going to be rain or dry or half wet, half rain. It's just all sorts of confusing for these guys. It really is one of the toughest and most diverse classes we have due to that, all the different configurations and whatnot we have. So tend to see a lot of different winners come out of this Hornet division.
Yeah, during the practice and qualify on the regular Hornet road course that they're not running on now, and then they'll be told what course they're going to run on at the pit meeting. So there's no setting up your cars to any of the, well, that's what their intent. Their intent is to not set them up for the main event or the heat race.
Yeah, because our old course that we used to run, the main Hornet course, you shoot through the intersection, and then it's mainly all left-handers. You have one tiny right-hander, mainly all left-handers. So what drivers started to do is figure out a little bit of setup stuff for that, and that's not what this class is intended for. It's intended for really equal across the board, even playing field, you know. So it's we tried with the new pavement we got in the infield too. We tried to give different courses, you know, make them really have to learn the cars, which is what this class is intended to do. And so it's been awesome to be able to see that develop over the last few years.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more configurations that you can race compared to when I raced. We only had 2 at that point. I think there's 4 or 5 now that they have ran. But yeah, out front it is Snyder, and I believe that we're 3 laps to go at this point, maybe 4. And Snyder's looking for his first A-main win.
Yeah, and that's Hasselblug right there, your second place driver. And if you notice, Hasselblug, he's up against that wall every single time going down the front straightaway. It's so much fun to watch. He's probably one of the most consistent drivers we see out here in the Hornet division. He just can put his car in the same spot, push it hard every single lap. It's a ton of fun to watch. And the race I participated in last year, well, kind of. I was there, we'll say that. It was so much fun watching Hasselblad because it was the reverse 3/8, just the oval 3/8, and he was putting it in the same spot every single corner, just so consistent, and it was so much fun to watch him. And I cannot wait to see where his career path goes after the Hornets, if he chooses to move out of the Hornets.
Yeah, he's been a Hornet racer for a long time. He actually used to race them when these cars had to be yellow and black, so that was quite a while ago. But yeah, up front, 2 to go for Snyder. He's just on a Saturday night drive at this point. He is gone.
Yep.
That's about probably, I couldn't even tell at this point. He's so far gone, we can't even get the whole top 4 into the same camera view.
Exactly, yeah. Here's the battle for 3rd place right here. Gillespie's going to get backed by Zach Bristol for that final podium spot. So it may be like a checkout up front right here with the 15 of Snyder, which I think is a new car for him, as he's looking very solid up front. That new car running very well for him up front. But yeah, that battle for 3rd is going to be a fun one to watch coming around this last lap now, as white flag was out that time by for the 15 of Matt Snyder.
So just like what Evan Delfell had to go through, this will be the longest lap for Matt Snyder as he goes through the right-hander. Now back onto the 3/8, has a couple lap cars in front of him. He's probably not even going to attempt to pass him. Well, he might now. Coming off of turn number 4, his first win in a Hornet division, Matt Snyder. And second, very, very distant second, is Ryan Hasselblock. And third, we can't even tell, they're so far gone.
We'll take a look, see if it's Trent Gillespie or Zach Bristol, and it looks like Zach Bristol got it. So we'll throw it on down to the podium with the top 3. Matt Snyder parking that hair ink number 15 at the top spot.
All right, making this quick, Zach, you made that final pass there for the podium spot coming out of turn 4. What was that like?
Surprising to say the least. Trent had a good run going, and he just slipped off coming off a 4. I was like, okay, I got a spot, and I looked up like, checker flag, all right. I didn't even see the white flag, so I didn't even know what lap it was. Just thought it was, well, I got another spot, cool enough, but no, we got a podium. It's awesome.
Taking advantage of opportunities, that's how you win races, and in this case, get a podium. Who would you like to thank for your performance tonight?
Got a thank Hornets Racing, sorry. These 2 munchkins, next generation, hopefully right here. PMS Power Decals, Townsend Peterson LLC. I know my uncle's here today. You actually got to check this out. Tommy Hibbs for that awesome car. It's so fast. Wish it was a little better in the rain, but I'll take it.
Driver of the 07, 3rd place tonight. That's Zach Bristol. You had a good car out there tonight, chasing down 15. Thank you. I'm struggling.
I wasn't going to catch him, man.
What more did you need from that car to get to him?
Well, first off, holy grandma shoot. Yeah, I was never gonna catch Matt. That car was on rails tonight. I'm super stoked with second place, so I'm really cool with that. I want to thank my sponsors: Cornerstone Homes, Edwards K&S Construction, Beast Tuning and Fab. They built some great motors for me. I got my kid in the pits, Lucas Hassenfluck. He helps me out. Mom's up in the grandstands cheering me on. Yeah, man. Everyone else that helps me get me out here, I appreciate it, and all you guys for sticking out in the rain.
Driver the number 33, second place tonight, Ryan Hassenfluck. That car flew. There's no exaggeration in saying that. What was the secret to that thing?
Well, I just stuck it in third gear and just kept it in third gear the whole race. Didn't shift once. So it was sticking, and that's the only way I could get traction, so that's where I left it.
And who would you like to thank for that amazing run tonight?
Well, first, I'd like to thank Robin with Hair Inc., Valley Asphalt, Snowfall's Credit Union, the Teen Shop, Handy in the Valley, SC, and the pit crew, all these guys here, and then the fans.
Driver the number 15, your race winner tonight, that's Matt Snyder.
Welcome back to Home Track Heroes. Here as we have 2 divisions left, and one of them is probably the hardest car to race in the rain. That's the Inex Legends, as they got a little tire and a lot of power.
Yeah, this will be definitely fun to watch. A full field. I believe we have 21 or 22 cars, so this will be definitely interesting to see how they're going to get around the 3/8 mile here.
Yep, so starting up on the front row, we got the 66 of Gabe Sessler, sponsored by Mazda of Everett. His outside, the 33 of Kyle Lang, sponsored by Phillips Law Firm.
The 42 is Chris Belanca, sponsored by Belanca Homes. Outside of him, the 51Z of John Zaretsky, sponsored by McMullen Construction.
Then we got the 30 of Mike Holden, sponsored by Weatherlight Roofing. His outside, the 37 of Mason Nelson, sponsored by TriMed.
The 11C of Chad Center, sponsored by Mazda of Everett, and the 68 of Kaylee Decker, sponsored by Joe's Tree and Timber LLC.
Then we got the 27D of Dakota Gruchala, sponsored by Weatherlight Roofing Inc., and her outside, the 2M of Jeff Mueller.
The 98 of Aaron Flett, sponsored by Kent Collision Center. Outside of Aaron, the 40 of Samantha Schwartz, sponsored by Sharps Transportation.
Then we got the 30B of Braden Wager, sponsored by Dirt Cheap Seward. His outside, that's the 10 of Chris Thompson, sponsored by Weatherlight Roofing.
The 59 of Josh Wharton, and he doesn't have a sponsor. The 15D of Davis Jacobson, sponsored by Evergreen Concrete Cutting.
Yep, if you want to sponsor a car, right there is your guy, 59, Josh Wharton. Then we got the 64 of Deacon Postle, sponsored by Clean Crawls. His outside, 76C of Josh Vlock.
The 51 of Antonio Bianchi, and outside of Antonio, the 29 of Owen Craig.
Then we got the 42A of Piper Alton, sponsored by Straight Alignment. Her outside, 15 as a Scott Center, sponsored by Terrific Towing.
I believe the final 4 cars are the transfers from the B main as well.
Yep, so I mean, we got a ton of youth, a ton of experience. It is a great mix of cars, as we got a great mix of them right here. Gabe Sessler, rookie in the Legends. We got Kyle Langer, runner-up in the championship points last year. Chris Belanca, he seems like he can win everywhere. And then John Zaretsky, obviously been around Evergreen Speedway forever and running super late models and everything in between. As here he goes. He's in the bottom right, looking to the outside early, trying to get around Kyle Langus. I think we're 3 wide for the race lead.
Yeah, definitely 3 wide for the lead. Look at all the 66 of Sessler hanging on for dear life down below. Looks like the 30 of Holden will go by, and the Belanca will go by as well. Zaretsky will grab the lead through 3 and 4, taking the high groove, because that is where the water is not going to be. You do not want to be at the low groove. Right?
Exactly, yeah. We're just about to mention that. This is going to be something unique that you don't normally see here at Evergreen Speedway, as everyone's be going to the top, as water, if you didn't know, it drains downwards. Yeah. So the top of the track is going to be the most dry and have the most grip, and you can carry a lot of momentum going around that way. There you see Belanca losing a spot to Holden. Is that outside line, it's a fine line to run, because it's really easy to push it too hard and go over the edge, and if you touch that grass, you're a goner.
Oh yeah, you get into the grass, you are definitely going to be done, as Zaretsky is out by about 10 car lengths over the 30 Mike Holden. 2 super late model champions up front, Kyle Lang, the 33, and Belanca, who keeps winning everything with Legend Racing. We got the 30 Wager in a different looking car than normal, and it looks like we stay green thus far. Maybe not.
Trying to give a chance to get fired up, as there's the yellow flag is out. As Wager, he actually had a really hard wreck, I think down at South Sound Speedway a week or 2 ago, as he destroyed that car. He hit the wall a ton, so he's in a backup car this week. As it's also a different look. It's not the sand, it's a wagon style body, so it definitely looks a lot different. I don't know how much they drive different necessarily, but it's definitely a new feel for him.
Yeah, definitely looks a lot bigger than what we're compared to see. So it looks like we got the 30 Holden, the 51 is Zaretsky up front.
Yep, and this segment is brought to you by Buzz Inn Steakhouse, sponsor of our Stinger 8 division. The Buzz Inn Steakhouse serves hand-cut Angus steaks, breakfast all day, and mouth-watering burgers. Visit one of their 13 locations. Buzz Inn Steakhouse, very proud sponsor of the Stinger 8 class, and a very fun place to go to here in Monroe after the races are done.
Yeah, always go there after the races. We just did the choose, and Zaretsky would choose the outside, Holden on the inside, as we are back to green, and everyone's going to just tiptoe through turn number 1.
Exactly, yeah. So that's something new for the drivers this year is the choose cone. Well, the choose arrow, really.
Yeah.
So you'll get a good look at it next time on the front stretch. So we're going to go 4 wide for a moment. Dakota Gruchalis taking her nose up there as the 98 of Aaron Flett was in the middle and got really loose, backed out of it. Did a great job not taking anyone with them. As like you mentioned, the 2 super late model vets up front just checking out. They have a lot of experience here in all sorts of conditions at Evergreen Speedway, and they're showing their experiences. There goes Wagner already working his way back forward. Oh, it's a nasty hit in the outside wall. Tire goes flying off. I believe, who was that?
That was Kaylee Decker, and unfortunately the tire is going to go farther than she did.
Yeah, and that ripped right off, and it's trying to make a few laps around the 1/5 mile.
Yeah, that's never a good night when the tire goes farther than the car.
Exactly. She's going to go way up onto the 5/8 mile oval, which actually be in action next week on Home Track Heroes with the Galloway Shootouts. We'll get a look here as just chasing the car. Looks like got a little bit loose trying to get the power down. No contact, really. Does a good job not getting to the inside car. I believe that was center to her inside, and yeah, tough hit to the outside wall. Thankfully, she wasn't really far away from the wall and hit it hard head on. You know, it's nicer when you're close to the wall and you hit it. So it wasn't as hard of a hit, but still enough force to rip the tire off. So it wasn't a nasty hit.
Yeah, it probably could have been a lot worse if she was another 2 or 3 car lengths over to the inside. That would have been way worse for everyone involved.
Yeah, we've seen some nasty hits with these legends on that front stretch wall. We saw Chad Center 2 years ago. Him and Graham both made front hard contact. We saw Kyle Lang last year make really hard contact when in these legend cars. So they're no joke. We have some big wrecks with these guys. Thankfully, that really wasn't one of them. It was a single car, and she's able to kind of keep it to herself. So that was good. So we're going to go on board with Mason Nelson here, looking out the back of the 37, as Mason's had a great rebound year in the tri-bed number 37. As last year he caught on fire. He was off in the tulips. He was everywhere. He just could not get his car in the right spot, but he's had a great rebound this year. Made it on the podium a couple times. Got a win over at State Line Speedway, so things turn around for the young driver, the 37. There we see him in the bottom right on the outside following Kyle Lang, and just all sorts of mayhem behind him.
yeah. If I would, John Zaretsky is definitely in the safest spot right now is Holden and Belanca. Belanca has been winning a lot here at Evergreen Speedway and a lot at South Sound Speedway. I believe he's coming off a win a couple weeks ago at South Sound, as they're thinking about 3 wide between, looks like the 27 of Controlla, the 15 of Jacobson, and the 51 of Bianchi. And Sessler hanging tough for that 4th position. Lang trying to find every way around to get around Sessler, but back up front, it's Zaretsky.
Yep, Zaretsky doing a great job in that 51 machine, as it's a little bit of a 3-car battle now, as they're starting to put a little bit of pressure on him. As Zaretsky, last year we saw him run a line no one else was touching. He'd jump way down to the inside and drift up the track, almost make a huge diamond arc out of it. So we'll see if he has to pull that trick out of his pocket later on tonight.
And it seemed to have worked for him. If you try that in a big car, that probably wouldn't work. But yeah, up front, Zaretsky's just hanging on for dear life as Holden looking around to try to get around Zaretsky. As we got Flett going around, everyone looks to dodge.
Keep it straight, keep it straight, as hopefully be able to stay green on that one. That was a great save, as there goes Wagner around. we almost made a great save out of it.
Yeah, looks like, we're going to go yellow, I believe. Yep, stopped there down the backstretch.
Trying to get it fired back up. But yeah, we'll take a look at the replay here. So here goes Aaron Flett's view, as he's going to go for a nice drift, wide entry into turn number 1, and then gets it back going. And I think what Wagner did there is he checked up so much that he was able to kind of give a straight shot off the corner and carried more speed than he's used to, and it just came around on him. You've driven these cars a couple times. You know how difficult they can be in dry conditions. Imagine driving these in the rain.
Oh, yeah. I only drove it once, and I don't even know how they do it out here. I give them props every time they have to race in the rain. They're definitely all great drivers, and like I said, these are very tough machines to handle.
Yeah, if I remember right, I think last year or 2 years ago, we had a great battle in the wet between Holden and Zaretsky. And I think Zaretsky went off track at one point, then Holden went off track at one point, and it was a great battle back and forth. I think Holden ended up getting the win that night because I think when he went off track, a caution came out and saved him. So it can definitely get very interesting here as these two have a little bit of history here battling in the rain and the legends. So let's see what they're able to do here. Zaretsky to the outside, and Holden chose the inside again. Interesting move with the wet conditions.
Yeah, and Holden goes way down below, but we got Aaron Flett going around. We stay green so far as Flett almost, he saved it once, couldn't unfortunately save it again.
Yeah, but it looked like he had a little bit of help that time. First time he got in there by himself, it looked like that might have been Wager got in the back at that time. As it looked like it's kind of a chain reaction, actually. Flett got in the car in front of him, and then he ended up getting the bumper behind. Mm-hmm. So it's hard when the cars in front of you are kind of stacking up to know. I mean, Braden just had no time to react to the cars checking up in front of him.
Yeah, that was just a chain reaction crash. No one should be mad at each other for that. That's unfortunate when you're racing inches away from each other. That's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And literally they're trying to keep off each other too, but we're going to change to a single file restart for the Legends, try to get some laps going as we only have 6 down, another 24 to go for these guys. As it is John Zaretsky, Mike Holden, Chris Belanca, your top 3. Sessler, your pole sitter, sitting there in 4th. And then Kyle Lang, your runner-up last year in points, and then your 4-time points champion in the Legend sitting there in 6th position. Chad Center in the 11th seat.
As we're back to green, Chad Center in his own car now. He had some motor issues, and he was borrowing a car from the McMullen Motorsports camp. As great to see him back out in his car. Zaretsky with about a 2-car length lead over Holden. Belanca sitting tough in that 3rd spot, and we got a pass for the 4th position between Sessler and Lang.
Kyle Lang looking to the inside, trying to make that pass work, as it is so tough to do on that little bit lower line. You can't quite carry the momentum, but he does. It gets around Sessler for the 4th spot, as I've been so impressed watching Kyle Lang these past few years in the 33 machine.
Yeah, he definitely has come a long way. Started off in quarter midgets, came up here. He does very, very well with the Legend division. His grandpa used to race, his parents used to race out here, so he definitely comes from a racing family.
Yep, exactly. Oh, there goes Mike Holden off track. That's not the right way to go, as a tire stack falls victim. We can count that not number 8, I think we're at. So we'll take a look at a replay real quick from Chris Belanca. Do not go anywhere. We got so much more action here from the Legends main event from Evergreen Speedway. Welcome back to Coastal Community Bank Night at the races here at Evergreen Speedway. As it's been a rocky start for the Legends. We talked about how hard these cars are to drive, but we're going to get back green flag racing, hopefully, and get to the finish of this race.
Yeah, we've tried about. We're on lap 23, so only 7 laps into this, and they're on a time limit. They have 30 laps or 30 minutes, so hopefully they get to do their 30 laps before the 30 minutes hits. That's why they're doing the single file now.
We're at about 7 cautions in these 7 laps, so hopefully that doesn't stay on pace here, as green flag is back out in the air. This segment is brought to you by Coastal Community Bank, also the sponsor of the night at Coastal Community Bank. Community is our middle name. Our bankers take time to understand your business and help it move forward. Coastal Community Bank is an equal housing lender, member FDIC. As we're going back up front, right before the break, we saw Mike Holden go off track, which I mentioned last year. It happened once, and the caution saved him. This time, he was the cause of it, so he's going to be at the back of the pack. As long as they're able to get him out of those tires, not too much damage done.
Yeah, hopefully he didn't hit. I think he might have hit it square enough to where it might have just did a little bit of bumper damage, not any suspension damage. But up front, it's Zaretsky and Belanca. Looks like the 66 of Sessler sitting in the 4th, and 5th spot would be the 11C of Sinner. I believe he's won the last 4 or 5 championships here at Evergreen Speedway.
Yep, we've had 4 years of Legends with a points fund for these guys at Evergreen Speedway, and Chad Center's won all 4 of them. And this year he welcomed in his baby boy into the world, so it's been a great year for Chad. So let's see if he can get that car turned around. He had some issues with the motor, like you mentioned before. He's been in a backup car, so finally back in his own car. Moving forward, sitting in the top 5 right now, but up front, John Zaretsky's so strong in these wet conditions, and like you mentioned, Chris Belanca has been so strong in the Northwest all year long, can win almost everywhere he goes.
Yeah, and it looks like we got a part sticking up on the 76 of Belanca. Oh, he's not going to be able to see very well. As his hood's coming up, he's going to pull off onto the 5/8. It's very smart of him.
Yep.
But now, battle for the lead, the 51 of Zaretsky and Belanca. Belanca looked to the inside, but just could not make it happen.
Yeah, and it's so hard when you're trying to run that bottom line because you lose all your momentum. And normally Legends aren't necessarily a momentum-based car, but here in the rain, they definitely are. And when you dive to the inside trying to make that move, you just see how much ground Belanca lost trying to do that.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, as there's a great battle between the 11C of Sinner and the 37 of Mason Nelson. as you were mentioning that he won it, a couple weeks ago at State Line Speedway. Hopefully he'll get a little bit more luck here at Evergreen Speedway as he's looking to move forward, but Sinner making it hard for him to get by.
Exactly, yeah, we mentioned Sinner, a many time champion at Evergreen Speedway, such a consistent driver, and is trying to work his way forward in these wet conditions, trying to get that car redialed back in after putting the new heart implant in that machine there. So working his way forward, solid top 5, I think he'd be content with, is Mason Nelson trying to take that away from his Mason, young kid. He's just trying to get all he can out of that 37 machine and work his way forward. Like I said, last year we saw him on fire during Galloway weekend, which is coming up next week on Home Track Heroes. So you're not going to want to miss that show, as Zaretsky able to pull out a little bit of a lead now, but for the first time, lap traffic for your race leaders.
Yeah, going to get around Chad's dad, the 15S of Scott Sinner. They're thinking about 3 wide. Can't make it happen once again. Belanca getting all in that very wet racetrack, and it just slows him down, and Zaretsky gets a really good run off the corner. Belanca might be able to make it work around one of these times, but it's not going to work for him right now.
Exactly, yeah, he used the lap car to help him out a little bit there. So we're going to go back to this 5th place battle with the 11C of Chad Sinner, just trying to hold off the 37 of Mason Nelson. And up in front of these guys, between them and your race leaders, we got the 33 of Kyle Lang sitting in 2nd, 66 of Gabe Sessler sitting in 4th. So a little bit of comfortable gap between these guys and the top 4, as Nelson going back to the inside, trying to make it work. A little bit of a dive on move, but Sinner's not going to let it happen. It's a Sinner sandwich with Mason Nelson in the middle.
Yeah, the 11C of Chad Sinner has a really good line going through the middle of the racetrack. It looks like we got a battle for the lead, and give it to Belanca now. He was able to use the lap traffic. He's going to drift up in front of your leader, and it looks like the 51 of Bianchi and the 27 of Grachala is going to be the issue here, and I think they're going to think about maybe 3-4 wide, but that didn't work out for Zaretsky like he wanted it to.
Yeah, he was hoping that the lap cars would kind of park the seas and let him go by, so he gives a nice little tap there to Bianchi, trying to go by him as he's seeing his race lead kind of fade away as they're coming up on Davidson in the 15. As now Zaretsky's going to go to the inside. You see him wobble a ton, lose so much momentum down there in the really wet inside line, as now he's able to clear those 3 lap cars, but not in time, as Chris Belanca is able to go early, get to that inside, underneath all that lap traffic, use him as a pick, and take over the race lead in that 42 machine.
And he is now gone. He has about a 10-car length lead over Zaretsky, picking up from where he left off at South Sound and at the last time here at Evergreen Speedway, as Zaretsky can't quite make up any ground on the 42 of Belanca. Zaretsky will go back up high again like he was, and maybe if he gets into another rhythm, maybe he can make it up to the 42 of Belanca.
Yeah, I think we held a big INEX event during Showdown a few years ago, and that was the first time I remember seeing Chris Belanca here at Evergreen Speedway, and he won that race in a stacked field. We had a few guys from Vegas come up and compete also, so it was a huge field. We had a few guys from Alaska come down and racing. It was one of the toughest Legends fields we've seen here at Evergreen Speedway, and Belanca came out on top. As he's going around Sessler, Sessler's dropped hard back, so the 66 of Gabe Sessler having some issues. I thought he was up there in top 5 recently, so he might have spun out or gone off track minorly, as he's way back now going a lap down.
Yeah, the Matt Peely Mazda Everett machine, yeah, definitely not having a good night. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say Gabe Sessler's going to lap down, so definitely not having a great night for them, as Belanca just keeps opening up that lead bigger and bigger as we speak. And look at that, we're less than 10 laps to go now, right? Getting a little bit of a rhythm here now.
Exactly, yeah. So Belanca, I think he's able just to hit these lap cars so perfectly. Hit them down on the straightaways or make a perfect dive bomb move in and drift up in front of them, get good drive off. So he's just picking them up, putting them down very smoothly, and that's what's really been able to allow him to open up this race lead. Looks like he's going around the 30 of Wagger right there and coming up on Aaron Flett in the 98, not too far along, as he's able to drift up, clear the 30 car here, and continue his march on through this field, putting cars a lot down.
Yeah, he's lapping up pretty high in the field. I believe Flett is running in the 11th or 12th spot. We started with 22 cars. I believe we don't have that. We probably lost 2 or 3 cars, so he's definitely the man on the move right now. He's the man to beat, as Flett not making it easy for the 42 of Belanca, though.
Yeah, exactly. The more cars you catch, the more you put a lap down, the faster ones you'll start to catch, which is what we're seeing here with Belanca catching the 90 of Aaron Flett, as it took him a little bit of time to get behind and pass Aaron Flett, as you see Zaretsky there now trying to get the inside of Wagner and try to close that gap. I think it was a little bit too late. If Aaron Flett could have held up Belanca a little bit longer, it might have been good news for Zaretsky, but Belanca's able to get by, and start picking up, putting these laps down. Just 5 to go as this battle for 4th, I believe, has not stopped between the 11 to 37.
Yeah, they've been together pretty much the whole main event. You know, Chad Sinner has raced for a long time. I believe he's been racing over 20 years. He's raced in the quarter midgets, went up to Deming, did a little bit of mini stock racing, then most of his career has been in the Legend division, so he has a lot of laps under his belt here at Evergreen Speedway and in just race cars in general.
Exactly, yeah, and he's shown his experience here, not making a mistake big enough for the 37 Mason Nelson to get by. Even though Mason might have the faster car here, it's just not enough to get by the 11C cleanly.
Yeah, definitely experience will definitely help that. It looked like they were going to get through a bunch of lap cars as they go off screen there. And Belanca just gaining that lead now, passes 2 cars in that one corner. Great slide by him. Has 3 laps to go for Belanca now.
Yep, picking up, putting him down. He's going to go back as that's just a cluster of cars as they've got Kyle Lang now. So that's 3, 4, and 5 right there, all in a cluster, going 3 wide to the inside. Chad Sinner going to go all the way down to the bottom where it's really slippery, and he might lose that spot finally to Mason Nelson as Chad is the green 11 sedan that's moving by his Scott Center also, as they're going to go 3 wide from front. That's V-Lock back out in the field after losing the hood. It's just chaos everywhere you look right here with 2 to go.
Yeah, so much going on as now all of a sudden the 11C Center gets around both of them. Oh, contact between both. He'll spin out, and so will Lang.
As that's going to stack up the cars there. I think the white flag might already be out as they're going to keep going. The 11 keeps on going. White flag is out. Tough break there for Kyle Lang as he was in the 3rd spot as he's going to get fired back up. Now it's just V-Log there. So I think that'll be the checkered flag for these guys as they're coming up on their time limit. So we'll take a look here. It should be Chris Belanca and John Zaretsky, your 1-2. Looks like Mason Nelson might slide into that 3rd and final spot on the podium. Yeah. So, hey, got the win at State Line a few weeks ago. Now coming out here with the podium. Great job there for him. As I think we'll try to take a look at a couple replays before we send to the podium.
Yeah, that was definitely a different turn of events there.
Yep. As we've seen the legends finish under caution before in very dramatic fashion. So right here, it's going to be Chris Belanca, your race winner. John Zaretsky in 2nd. Definitely the 2 top cars all race long. And then we're going to take a look at replay. What happened there with Kyle Lang, Chad Center, is Chad tried to pull that slide job and just got up and hit the nose of Kyle Lang. And, I mean, these cars are so touchy, anything can happen.
Yeah, it looks like just a little bit of a sandwich there, and yep, in the rain that will happen.
Yep, so they go around. Mason Nelson goes by onto the podium, and let's send it down there and talk to Mason Nelson, see what he thought about that final lap.
Throughout the year over the radio, now I get to do it on the podium once again. You were right there with Lang and Sinner throughout the battle. How did you dodge that final incident?
I saw Sinner kind of run up the track there, and I saw that there wasn't much between me and him, so he wasn't going to fit between me and Kyle. So I kind of freaked out, turned down, hoping they were going to get up into each other. And then Kyle tagged my right rear, almost spinning me, but I was able to save it down.
Kept the car under you. Who would you like to thank for this 3rd place finish?
I got to thank TriMed, Avocanon Real Estate, Winter Sportswear, my whole crew and family, Joe's Racing Products, and Rick for helping me with the setup.
Driver of the number 37, that's the Masonator, Mason Nelson. Well, JZ, you had that bold move at the start, and I feel like that's the one we have to highlight here. You shot along the outside. What possessed you to make that move?
I just found here that, you know, a whole bunch of guys want to get to the bottom every week, whether we're in the dry, whether they're in the wet, and these cars are little, so you can put a whole bunch of them into the first corner. So, and usually, if you're on the outside, you're not the guy that's in a bunch of precarious spots. So,
you grabbed the lead with that move, and you stayed in the top 2 for the remainder of the race. Who would you like to thank for that amazing car tonight?
Not the lap cars. I want to thank McMullen Construction and Kent Collision for getting me here. Both those companies are car owners for me, and couldn't do it without them. And all the fans, my family, my friends, I want to say congratulations to Chris Belanca. That was a great race, and he's a hard competitor. So,
driver of the number 51Z, that's John Zaretsky. That was a fast number 42 machine, and you and John were battling it out. You just had that advantage. You took the low line and got past those lapped cars. You deal with traffic really well. Where does that come from?
I just think you got to be aggressive in these cars, and I knew he had a fast car, and my only chance was once he caught some lap traffic was just to try to slide them all and get them all at once and then run away.
The second win tonight here at Evergreen Speedway this season. Who would you like to thank for that?
I'd like to thank my sponsors, Belenka Homes, CarStar Premier Collision, Stadium Thriftway, the Blaylock family, and of course my family and my wife for all of her support and her help. She was my spotter tonight, so we got it done.
Driver of the number 42, race winner tonight, Chris Belenka.
Well, one more division left here, and it is my favorite. You guys heard me say that all last year here on Home Track Heroes. The Street Stocks coming out here. It's now sponsored by Tire Pros. Tire Pro Street Stocks coming out. It's going to be a very fun one and a wet track edition for these guys. You never know what can happen with the big V8s.
Yeah, I definitely don't envy them right now as we got on the pole the 27 of Scott Lacrosse driving for Travis Bliven, sponsored by Premier Painting Company LLC, and on the outside, the 85 Jimmy Fireball Fody, sponsored by Trademark RCS.
Then on the inside of row number 2, we have the 69 of Austin Camp, sponsored by Ad Taxi, coming off of a day with his kid over at the Quartermature track across the street, so he's been all over the place today. Then we got the 7 of Ted Lindgren back in the Street Stock, sponsored by Big Block Brewing. He was our 2021 champion, I believe, for the Street Stocks. Might have been 2020, but he's filling in for Mike Shimmick.
And in the 57, a Doug Poyer, last year's runner-up, sponsored by Ox Chassis. Outside of him, car number 28, a Gene Watson, sponsored by SE Snohomish County Trucking and Excavating.
Then we got the 41 of Mark Hubbard, sponsored by Interstate Batteries. His outside, that's the 3 of Jesse Jensen, sponsored by Tire Pros.
The 03 of Blaine Fagerly, sponsored by Stingray Auto Repair in Redmond. And outside of him, 15 of Brent Orr, sponsored by Harding Motorsports.
Starting 11th, that's the 06 of Steve Potasek, sponsored by Lang Auto Sports. His outside, the 22, Kenny Erickson, sponsored by AOC Forestry.
The 43 car is Chevy Vincent and a Chevy Camaro, sponsored by Siskin Power Equipment. Outside, rounding out our street stock field, 17 of Billy Decker.
Coming around this time by, should see the green flag coming at you right in your living room on that speed shot as the green flag is out for the Tire Pros Street Stock as they're already beating and banging into turn number 1. As lot of check up, hang on, do it, Austin Camp at 69, and that's the 28 of Gene Watson just going right around the outside saying thank you very much as he's going to move right into the second place position very early in this race.
Yeah, Ted Lindgren will grab the lead in his old former car and my old former car as well, as we got a good battle between the 27 of Scott Lacrosse and the 69 Austin Camp. Fody making it look 3 wide down the backstretch, and now here comes Brent Rohrer, our friend from the north. We'll look into that as well. Can't quite make it happen. Fody, very good driver in the rain, trying to pick up where he left off as well with the top 5 last time out. And it looks like we got some parts coming off of the 15 of Brent Rohrer. He's missing a front, fender and a bumper.
Yeah, and the hood also. So and that is flopping in the window. Oh, there goes Fody around in the 85. Everyone's able to check up and not hit him. The 17's going to go for a little bit of a ride through the dirt, and Fody does a 360 and gets the pedal back going. So we could have stayed green. Caution flag is flying right here, so we're going to go to the replay real quick and take a look at what happened. Looking on the back of Jesse Jensen, a little bit of a looks like the fender's already fallen off back there. I think Fody's right up in front. But, hey, we got a lot of action left here in the Street Stocks. Do not go anywhere. You're not going to want to miss it. Welcome back to Home Track Heroes, the final segment here on tonight's show. Chad Fitzpatrick, Kyler Hope up here into the booth, you guys. It's been so much fun coming back here. I've definitely missed being on the show.
Yeah, it's been a great show so far. A lot of spin-outs, obviously, that's going to happen. So it looks like we're back to the Street Stocks with Ted Lindgren and Gene Watson on the front row.
Yeah, and Gene, he's still looking for that first win of his in the Street Stocks. He got a great podium finish last year in the Legends in the wet conditions. I mean, he's trying to do it here in the Street Stocks. This is his first year here in the Street Stocks, and that beautiful looking number 28 machine. His green flag is back out in the air, and he's in the preferred line. Let's see what he's able to do here with the outside going down in turn number 1.
Yeah, he'll go up high. About actually not as high as what we were seeing in the Legend division, but it'll work for him as Ted Lindgren getting really loose down the middle of the straight, or in the corner, as now the 28 will grab the lead going into turn number 3.
Yeah, that higher line, you're able to carry that momentum a little bit better, and he's able to not slip the tires as much as we saw Lindgren really fighting that wheel as Gene Watson. Now he's going to dip it down to the inside a little bit, not quite all the way down on the bottom like we're used to seeing. as we see 3 wide a little bit farther back in the back. This is Jesse Jensen, Austin Camp, and Mark Hubbard in the 41.
Yeah, Hubbard, a 2-time champion in the street stock division. Austin Camp looking for his first podium and or win, as Watson up front, and starting to notice the track's starting to dry, so that's going to actually make the track conditions even worse now, because you want to find that dry line, and if you get into that wet spot, you're just going to spin it out or just go off the track.
Yeah, and the more they work that inside line and get it kind of dried out, the harder their tires are going to get, which makes the rest of the track going to dry out a little bit faster the harder their tires get. So we'll see if that kind of plays out here, as we're going to go 3 wide again here. Same 3 cars, Jensen, Camp, and Hubbard. And Hubbard's going to make the outside line work, 2-for-1 special, as he's going to get a huge run down the backstretch and try to take second place over from Ted Lindgren in the 7.
Yeah, great job there as the 41 Mark Hubbard. He lives on the outside. He's going to try to get around the 7 car of Ted Lindgren, who is driving for Mike Shimmick tonight. As we got Hubbard, he is the man on the move right now. You better look out, Gene Watson. He's coming in quick, as Austin Camp doing a great job hanging tough in that 5th position, and a great battle shaping up front as Hubbard looks to the inside for the lead.
Yeah, smart move by there, Gene, to try to keep the outside blocked off from Hubbard, but Hubbard's car is so fast right now. He's able to make the inside line work, drift up. We'll see if they can do a crossover move from Watson, going down the backstretch, not quite getting out of the run. So we're going to look at this battle with Jensen, who's struggling so hard on that inside line to get grip, trying to get around the Austin Camp in the 69.
Yeah, Austin Camp doing a phenomenal job. Moved up 1 spot into 4th, but Jesse now will get by Gene Watson hanging in that 2nd spot. And Ted Lindgren, who raced this car last year, is sitting in a great position in the 3rd place.
Yeah, he's back home in that car. Normally has an 88 on it. He had a 1 on it after the year he won the championship, but he's back here now in the 7 car. So 3 different years, 3 different numbers for him inside that orange and black car. As he's trying to hunt down Gene now, as he's kind of got his wits about him. Back settling the car a little bit. It wasn't wet earlier, now it is, so he's now getting a little more comfortable, putting some good laps in, trying to get back by the 28 for 2nd place.
Yeah, Ted trying to find every way around the 28 of Watson, trying to see where Ted might, or where Gene might mess up a little bit, since this is only his 4th or 5th race, and he's doing a great job. But looky, here comes Jesse Jensen. He has won the last 3 races. Let's see if he can go for 4.
Yeah, exactly. That 3 car is so strong. A great looking Tire Pros machine with that little bit of like chrome reflective wrap on it, as these top 5, they're all starting to get close a little bit nose to tail. Hubbard looked like he had such a strong car, but now he's starting to fall back a little bit into the clutches of 2nd place, Gene Watson. And then Ted Lindgren's right there. Like I mentioned, Jesse Jensen and Steve Potasic in the 06 as well.
Yeah, he was, Mark Hubbard was on a tear, and now it's just kind of dissipated at this point, but still good enough to maintain that lead, as we're going to get him on, get into some lap traffic now. Looks like the 03 of Blaine Fagerly and the 43 of Chevy Vincent, they will be getting up onto him in the next lap or 2, as Steve Potasic will move up into that 5th position, as it's just a 5-car breakaway, and looks like they're going to get up on Fody as well. So this will definitely be interesting to watch, as they are side by side in front of our leaders.
Yeah, Jesse Jensen, the first car out of this top 5 to try to break that line, and now Gene goes the inside as well. We'll see what they're able to do. It's side by side for 2nd, the 28, Gene Watson. He got really loose, going to chase the car down the track. Here comes Steve Potasic trying to get 3 cars in 1 corner. Ted Lindgren is going to drift with the track a little bit. Mark Hubbard's clear of the lap cars. The rest of the top 5 is not the same case. We're going 4 wide into turn number 1. Lindgren's off the track.
Oh my goodness, and now the 43 of Vincent will go around Lindgren off the track. We stay green so far, as Lindgren hopefully able to join the field, as we're back to green, as now the 41 of Hubbard will get around Fody.
Yeah, what a save from Lindgren. We saw sparks fly, but he was able to not get all the way in the grass and keep that car inside the top 5. With all of that, now you see Steve Potasic right there in the 3rd spot. There is Ted Lindgren sitting at 4th. The 3 car of Jesse Jensen worked into 2nd through all of that. So that was just a mix-up between the top 5. Somehow Gene Watson still in the 5th place in the 28 machine. So that was a hectic lap and a half, with right at the halfway point for these guys, as we now have 13 laps to go in their 30-lap feature.
Yeah, the person who definitely came out on top in that whole melee was Jesse Jensen, as he was sitting, I believe, 4th when they all came up onto those lap cars, as he is chasing down the 41 car, Mark Hubbard, the 21 and 22 street stock champion, as here comes the 06 of Potasic, the 18 and 19 street stock champion, as now we'll get around the 85 of Fody. Fody having some issues. He's been a top 5 car the last few races, so something's going on with the 85 of Jimmy Fody.
Yeah, the wet weather's putting out the fireball of Jim Fody for sure.
As we got the 3 he's closing in quick. About a lap and a half ago, he was about 20 car lengths, making about 10 now, as he is definitely with that little crate motor he has, might help him get through the track as the conditions are still pretty bad out there.
Yeah, and before all that melee happened, we really saw Mark Hubbard struggle quite a bit on this track. He might have figured out a little bit more since all that happened, but the top 5 were really closing in on him. Thankfully, they were all able to stay under green flag conditions, and that allowed Mark Hubbard to pull away a little bit. But now we start to see him still struggle a little bit, get a little bit loose as the 3 car and the 06 are starting to pull into the picture here.
What might have happened is Hubbard might have set up his car a little bit tighter for the rain, but now since the track is starting to dry up, it might be starting to get on the loose side, because you're definitely seeing him get really loose coming off of 4. Not that time as I say it, but yeah, definitely Jesse Jensen's the faster car right there.
Yep, and he's working his way through so solidly between 1 and 2. They're running about the middle groove right now, not quite at the bottom like we're used to seeing in the dry conditions, and not all the way up top like we see in the super wet. So definitely a challenging track for these drivers. A lot of rookies in the field, not that far in front of them that they're going to have to deal with here with 8 laps to go. Coming by this time, yeah, 1 car length lead for Mark Hubbard.
Yeah, it's definitely closing in quick as they're going to try to put Billy Decker a lap down, who raced in when this division was called the NASCAR Bomber Division. Raced a long time ago, but that's not going to help anything, because now your new leader is Jesse Jensen.
Yep, the Tire Pros number 3 taking over the lead in the Tire Pros Street Stock Division. Hubbard trying to run him back down, but that lap car is just wrong place, wrong time for Hubbard. Killed his outside momentum and allowed the 3 of Jesse Jensen to get to the inside. Coming to 5 to go this time by, but still a ton of lap cars here. Anything can happen, like I just mentioned. Kenny Erickson going around. Almost collected your race leader. Jesse Jensen doing a great job. The 27 car of Scott Lacrosse filling in for Travis Blivens, also involved, but that could have been a lot worse than it was.
Yeah, that definitely. Oh, if you're Kenny Erickson, that definitely was a little bit of a scary moment, especially if you're also the 3 of Jesse Jensen. We'll watch and see what happens. I believe what happened was Kenny just got out way too far into the wet, and yeah, and that's what happened.
Yeah, no contact there for Jesse Jensen. Great job, but you'll see it right here. Just goes that hard transition off of the corner, hits the right front of Scott Lacrosse's car. You see Lindgren like locking up the brakes there, trying to avoid. So you saw all that smoke, so it means it's dry out there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, wow, that was a little too exciting right there for the Street Stocks.
yeah, and they definitely always put on a good show. So we'll watch and see what happens with 5 laps to go, or make it 6 now.
Yep, 6-lap shootout here. And this segment is brought to you by Evergreen Health Monroe. When your need for speed gets the best of you, like it just did for Kenny Erickson, and you end up needing stitches or having bones set, Evergreen Health in Monroe is your full-service community hospital ready to take care of you when you need them most. And here we go, 6-lap shootout here in the Street Stock Division. In some damp conditions, green flag is back out, as Hubbard is nowhere to be found. Did he pull off under that caution?
He went to the back. I believe he might have got a penalty for driving over the choose cone or the choose line, whatever you want to call that. But Lindgren hanging on for dear life for that 3rd spot, as here comes Gene Watson looking to the outside of Ted Lindgren with 5 laps to go.
5 to go. Now you see Austin Camp getting really loose off the corner. He made a great save. We'll stay on this battle for 2nd place. Jesse Jensen starting to check out Steve Ptasic into the 2nd spot. As Lindgren just in that such loose asphalt down at the bottom. It's so wet down there. It's hard to gain traction. He was a victim of it right there. So now we see the first time coming to your shot. That's Doug Poirier in the 57. That's the old Calvin Miller Street Stock. So a different new ride for the 57 as he's starting to work his way forward, trying to get a podium spot away from Gene Watson here. As Steve Ptasic now, he looks to be slowing up a little bit as Gene Watson's all over the back of the 06 now. So Gene really rebounding after that lap 15 incident.
Yeah, Watson really had to get on the binders to miss the 06 of Steve Ptasic. Looked to the inside, couldn't quite make it happen. Ptasic going down the middle of the track now. That might be the preferred line at this point now, as Jesse Jensen just going away, as we got Ptasic in the 28 of Watson and the 57 of Poyer, and looks like we might have not a lead change, but maybe a great battle for that 2nd spot shaping up right now.
Yeah, I think you talked about the preferred line. I think the preferred line's wherever your car's running best right now. So it's going to vary for every driver. As you see Ptasic running a little bit higher up than Gene, as this time Gene goes higher than Ptasic. His yellow flag is out. No, with just 2 laps to go. That is the 43 of Chevy Vincent ending up down there almost on the 5/8 entry. So we'll take a look and see what happened here. with the 43 of Chevy Vincent. Going to go on board with him, is just chasing the car from the stretch, doing a little bit of weeble wobbling all the way down, going backwards. Does a great job. I think he kept it off the wall the entire way.
He definitely did. That was definitely a great job. I've done that exact same thing, and that is definitely not a good feeling when you're going backwards down the middle of the straightaway.
Yeah.
So I will give Chevy props for keeping it off the wall, and I'm sure his dad's very happy about that too.
Yeah, does have another car to fix. Is like you said, he has 3, 4, 5, 10 cars in their garage that they're working on. So great job there by Chevy to keep it off the wall. And hey, he gave us an exciting green, white, checkered finish right here. So let's see what Gene Watson can do now from the front row on the inside of Jesse Jensen. Doug Poyer now in row number 2 on the inside of Steve Potasic, Fody, and Lindgren rounding out your top 6.
Here they come off of turn number 4, a little bit loose off of the 28 of Watson, and we are back to green.
So Steve Potasic took the outside line behind Jesse Jensen on the choose cone. Gave Gene Watson the inside of row number 1, and it's going to work out as Gene Watson's going to take over the second spot. Doug Poyer into third now, trying to get around Steve Potasic. As Gene Watson, he might have something for Jesse Jensen here coming to the white flag.
White flag, 1 to go. Let's see if Jesse can go 4 out of 5 so far this year. And a great run by the 28 of Watson as they come off of turn number 2, and the 57 of Poyer into turn number 3 will be in third.
Yep, and Gene Watson, like you mentioned, that kind of Havoline style Allison throwback scheme, as he's going to come home P2 to Jesse Jensen, who picks up the win in the Tire Pros, the final maiden event of the night.
All right, you raced that number 57 clean and well around that circuit. What are the wet conditions like versus the dry?
It was wet, slippery. It got better as the race went on. It was a lot of fun. You got to find a line that's fastest that you can run.
And who would you like to thank for your performance tonight?
Ox Performance, Gene, Dave, J-Off, Lugs, all the guys back in the pits, the girls, my daughter, my wife, everybody.
Gene, you chose the inside consistently, a bit of a bold choice given how fast that top lane was, but it worked out for you. What made you do that?
I don't know if they're going to give me the front row. Might as well take it. Came to race, right?
Fair enough. You drove that number 28 car to a second place finish. Who would you like to thank for that?
I'd like to thank Dave Lund, Doug Poyer, Ox Chassis, Stack Design and Construction, Snohomish County Excavating, and S&S Roofing.
Driver the number 28, Gene Watson, second place tonight. First place again tonight, driving that number 3 car. That black and red Tire Pros machine has been fast all year long. I guess the question is, you think it can do the same thing next week?
That's always the hope. Tonight, I'm not sure it was just speed. It was just I happened to pick where I needed to be when lap cars were coming, when guys got together. I just got lucky and picked the right place to be is what I felt. The car was good, of course, but there was not a lot of grip to be had out there. But it was fun, it was exciting, and I hope everybody enjoyed it.
What was going through your mind there when Erickson and Lacrosse got together and suddenly there's a car coming right in front of you while you're leading?
I thought they were going to hit me. I really did. I don't know how he didn't. I mean, you can't really see much out your right side, but I thought for sure I was going to get hit, but we didn't. So we got to keep racing, and we made it to the end.
Who would you like to thank for this podium?
I want to thank Ryan Berg from Tire Pros. He helps so many people out here, not just our team. He helps the racetrack, which helps everybody. He's a huge supporter of Evergreen Speedway. We appreciate him so much. He's a great guy in general, and we're glad to have him as part of our team.
Driver of the number 3, your race winner tonight, Jesse Jensen.
Thank you so much, Derek Todoroff, getting those podium interviews all night long. And wow, what a wet and crazy night here at Evergreen Speedway.
Yeah, we had a lot going on, but you know what? It actually went pretty well for the conditions all those drivers had to race in.
Exactly, yeah. And hey, next week, Home Track Heroes, the first 5/8 race of the year. We got super late models and pro late models on the 5/8, plus mini stocks and street stocks on the 3/8. You're going to want to tune in and watch that. And if you like what you see there, come out to the Summer Showdown at the end of July. You're not going to want to miss that. Come out in person and enjoy the biggest race here at Evergreen Speedway. Next time in person, person, you can come see the sprint cars along with the Focus Midgets, Outlaw Figure Eights, Vintage Mods, and Legends here. That'll be July 1st. And then Tuesday, July 4th, the 4th of July birthday bash here at Evergreen Speedway with Mr. Dizzy, buses, boats, V8s, fireworks. It's going to be a thrill show. You're not going to miss it.
A lot to do.
Yep. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next time right here on Home Track Heroes here on CW11.
Thanks for watching Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11. Join us next week for more great racing from Evergreen Speedway.